You need to go with 5 Night Stalker for the next 4 minutes. There's gonna be Knight plus Aghanim Scepter, just 100 gold away, and he has a
So
haste rune on
close.
top of that.
That's where they'll try and play a bit more actively. Give Nyx time with the Battle Fury to keep on cleaving through the neutral creeps. Has an Iron Talon as well to help him farm. Hellraiser's in no rush whatsoever.
What if you could use like Iron Talon or Battle Fury just to insta-kill Treant? How OP would that be? Like, let
What
me
do you
cut
mean, how
down that
OP would
tree.
that be? I wish I could use Hand of Midas on an enemy hero. Come on, dude.
Get some extra gold on top of that. Why not?
Jesus.
Yeah, we would lose a lot of players. That's for sure.
I mean, they just remove Treant from the game. Like, what's the point in having him anymore? Dear Lord.
You didn't hear the rest, Gary. You're just
sorry.
jumping to conclusion. What if Falling Blade costs like 5,000 gold? Like, that's
Still ridiculous. You just rush quelling blade.
Okay,
what if lightning bolts zapped Morphling and killed him every time? Imagine if we had Pokemon like damage types in Dota.
We actually had
We did
that.
with Cinder Brew, right?
Yeah. Thank God it's gone.
Elemental damage. Ah, well. Yeah, you know, that's Dota 2. We try things. If it sucks, we get rid of it. Tell it to get out of our game. Bless Ice Frog. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, there's a fight.
Smoke, Moonlight Shadow.
Hellraisers like want to take a fight right now. Night Stalker, extremely powerful. AoE, void damage.
Everyone's gathering around the Roche pit. But top lane needs to be shoved out. Night Stalker can do that very quickly with his new Aghanims, like you're saying. AoE Void clears out creep waves, lets him farm much faster. Mars going back for Soul Ring. He's got his Blink Dagger. He's ready to initiate at a moment's notice. Some very defensive wards here from HR, all around their triangle. Plenty of sentries on the map from Tempo. You can see like this great wall of sentries all the way from bottom jungle near the outpost up towards top lane. Trying to keep HR away from their side of the map as they're the ones to smoke, knowing that Moonlight Shadow is down. So surprise initiations not available from HR. Who can they find? Because Mars is showing bottom lane, but he's not really the target they want. PA or Night Stalker would be great, but both of them lurking in the shadows, skulking up top. And Mirana, the one showing mid, not really able to jump on her either. Good spread on the map here from Hellraisers.
Everyone's just farming for now, but I think this benefits Hellraisers much more because they have Battle Fury on PA. They understood like we can't take a fight. Like their 5 versus 5 is extremely strong, so we're just gonna split them, get the most out of the map. DNZ rooted. No arrow.
Tries to get away. Mars Arena there. The overgrowth though. The Dark Rift not going to come in time. Mitch will get out with his life. But Hellraisers are the ones reacting quickly, and now with another 10 seconds of nighttime, maybe they play forward aggressively into these bounty runes. Dark Ascension going to get popped there as they feel they know where the Drow is. And Chandra sprinting down south with the Rod of Athos there, catching Krill out, but the multi-shot takes out the Mirana as Night Stalker's been left isolated. The rest of the team didn't follow them up the high ground, and Mars, Witch Doctor with the PA, they got the Zeus, but losing out Night Stalker and Mirana there, it's got to sting a little.
Everyone was split. Like they jumped to Zeus, Night Stalker suddenly felt like, dude, where's my team at? They were split so quickly. Bounty runes still there to be picked up. I think Tempo right now will just run inside the pit and try to take it. Mitch has enough sustain to actually tank the Roche while Krillat deals the damage. There's no nighttime for the next 85 seconds, at least for the ulti, and it's gonna be daytime for the next 4 minutes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Lil gets a little arrow sliding into the pit. Goes for the Moonlight Shadow as well. Wait a second. Okay, yeah, there it is. Sentries placed down. I thought just for a little bit that maybe a move could be made. But a high ground ward also scouting out the Mirana there from the Radiant, sees every move he makes.
Is under attack.
Now back in the driving seat. Net worth pinging back and forth between them. It's a dead even game. But Aegis in the hands of this Drow Ranger lineup will allow them to carve out a bigger portion of the map for themselves. Try and close in on this PA. But I think you're right, you know, with the farm that HR are getting, they're spreading wide across the map. It feels like they're being more efficient. And they're kind of baiting people in as Mirana leaping, but into the Pit of Malice. They've got the Yules up to get the second route to land, and the damage from Zeus should be enough here to bring her down.
They can afford to lose Mirana here. Mid tower still standing, Phantom Assassin, Winter Mantis style to dodge the silence and most importantly overgrowth. Tempo might need to use Dark Rift to try to set things up. There's one play that they can do. We try to TP to Enchantress Creep.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
And just to try and deal with all this split pushing and map maneuverability from HR. But they're going high ground. Lacoste is 22 minutes in, 22 seconds. Catapult wave with a Enchantress Creep. They've got this tanky Underlord having Vanguard, Aegis on the Drow Ranger. They're ready and they're breaking tier 3. Mars jumps in with the Arena Spear, misses the combo, but they still isolate that Underlord. Krillat's cleared up King R already, and Mitch is tanky, still half HP. He's going to try and retreat out with Maledict ticking.
Still alive.
Will put his life to an end. Surely he's going to die here. Living armor always kept him up. They can't finish him off. Drow Ranger front lining, killing off the Mars. Funnick down and a double kill for Krillat. Opening up this lane of barracks. This game, it is opened real wide now. It's a good little snipe there on the gas spot from Mirana, but your first lane has fallen.
Man, Mitch is so tank. Enchantress, Entrant Protector keeping him alive, Dragon Scale, extra armor and regeneration kicked in, and the block damage that he had from Vanguard now has a full Crimson Guard, and they can start running on the mid lane. There's still a minute and a half until the nighttime, so they should try to use that. There's also Roche on Drow Ranger still, so it is time to go for them.
Yeah, 2 minutes left on that Aegis, and with Hurricane Pike, she's got a way of her own for disengaging from these fights. Zeus close to Aghanims if he wants to finish it off. He's holding money right now and has a blink queued. But I feel like Aghanim Scepter is going to be his next option, especially with these Pits of Malice from the Underlord.
Zeus escorting the creep wave. He saw Mirana, so just wants to take care that no one kills it. There's Mirana ulti. Still 2 minutes left on that Aegis. Meteor Hammer drops the tower.
Absolutely. Drow Ranger from the low ground. Just pummeling into it. They arrow up the Zeus, though, back in towards mid, and the catch and pick, it's there. The Phantom Assassin blows him up, and now the Mars ulti. Arena of Blood, lands and spear in onto the Underlord, but that's a tanky target. They're focusing down Mitch. Interesting. That's not the one I would opt for. Maybe a change of tact as the Drow Ranger stands her ground. The Dark Rift coming, but the Starstorm flying, and they try to force snap them away. The Yule's up, and out they go. Drow and Underlord, the two heroes that Tempo needed to keep alive, are in fact kept alive.
Yeah, Zeus, as I said, escorted the creep wave once, tried to do it the second time, and Hellraiser's like, he might do it again, so we're just gonna go for him. He does not have a defensive item, not a fuel scepter to try to buy time for himself. I see a blink dagger queued up, but I also see Aghanims. I feel like you need to get Aghanim Scepter because you have such a powerful combo with Pit of Malice and Treant Protector's ulti to keep them in place while Nimbus is dealing the damage.
Oh, the Drow. Atos into Arrow. Still has that Aegis as they turn around and look to blow up Lil. Very close to death. Witch Doctor being focused. One more hit will take down the Mirana, following her through the leap, and it's a double as Krillat clears up both. Mars blinks away, looking to escape. I think DNZ might just spot him on his retreat. Obs and Sentry there catching a glimpse of the Treant, though. Still not really a drastic net worth lead, even with a full lane of barracks to their name. Tempo just sprinting on this mid lane with a catapult.
There's still 20 seconds left on that Aegis. Zeus on the bottom has Boots of Travel ready to TP. Just 100 gold away from Aghanims. We'll have enough right now. There's the rotation from Mars. They need to be careful, waiting for that Aegis.
Arena of Blood is ready, and they look to focus the Drow. Spear, but misses the Arena for like a third time. Funnick has been off the money with this one. They focus LeBron. The Enchantress nearly down, pops the one. The Crimson Guard won't keep her up. Focusing onto the Drow, though. Hurricane Pike through the Nimbus, trying to retreat with the Manta and dodge with the living armor. But Night Stalker has her number. Straight on top of her, and gap closes beautifully as Mitch, yet again, left here all on his lonesome. He's pretty tanky with 21 charges. The Dark Rift is just about going to get him home to Fountain.
Maledict.
He's fine. Maledict won't be able to kill him off. He gets raindrops as well, just to make damn sure he survives.
And
How does
Noob
Zeus
dies
die?
again. Like, he didn't even join the fight on time. I love that Hellraisers learned their lesson. We're not going to focus Underlord. We're just going to go with the rest, the Drow Ranger, with no BKB.
Radiant's
Also,
middle tower
Funnick, he
is
needs to
under
step
attack.
up. He tried to use Spear into Arena 3 times in a row and missed it every single time. Maybe just go for the standard stuff. Get that Arena first and then use
Radiant's
the
middle
Spear.
tower has fallen.
Yeah, what's he worried about? You know, Drow Ranger Manta dodging or Hurricane
Yeah.
Piking or something?
Radiant's
Manta dodge.
courier has been killed. Radiant's top tower is
DNZ
under
loses his
attack.
courier.
Radiant's
Might be losing
structures
steam
are
as well.
fortified.
Now a 5k lead for Hellraisers after losing top lane and their mid-tier 3. But that Roshan, it was vital for tempo. If they didn't have that Aegis, this game could just be Hellraisers all the way home anyway.
Phantom Assassin. A bit of a different item build in this game, going for Aghanim Scepter to reduce the blur cooldown, and you refresh your abilities if you get a kill.
Yeah, we've seen this in the Chinese region, a fair few PA picks. Even just going Aghanims as like a second item, like Manta Ags or something. Allows you to really hit a timing, 25, 30 minutes in, just to keep going, looking for kill after kill. And if you have an Aegis, this hero seems unstoppable.
If you got a different god of mid who's not tanky and who does not make chaos in the front lines, I don't think you can afford to get the Aghanim Scepter, but with Night Stalker who has a Blink Dagger, Ags, and a BKB, he doesn't care too much. He just blinks in, and then Phantom Assassin can follow up and go for these squishier targets.
Oh, they find Mitch, but the bigger kill is that Night Stalker chasing the Zeus. Arena of Blood there, and they spear him to the side of the Colosseum. And this poor Enchantress going to get hounded as well. She slows the Night Stalker down for a second, but PA's there.
Whoopsie.
With a godlike streak and some big hits and crits. Jumping forward aggressively now. Manta dodging the gust as the Night Stalker's in again, thinking about diving tier 3s. The Tempo hold their own. DNZ is going to be the last casualty of war.
There's still no BKB on that Drow Ranger. Like, she has 2 defensive items. I mean, those items also deal damage, but without a BKB, like, I still feel like she can't stand her own ground and fight.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, this all means that, she can't go MKB, she can't go Butterfly or anything like that.
Radiant's top
Like,
tower has
3
fallen.
defensive items. It reminds me of the Medusa days with Lincoln's Manta. Do you really want to go for those all together? As they Pit of Malice, Nimbus, the Mars, Funnick being picked off. The Yules up from the Underlord will get that additional route to make sure he's cleared up. And Hellraisers, they can't
Radiant's
battle
bottom
4
tower
versus
is
5.
under attack.
That's a sick combo that they have. Pit of Malice into Nimbus, Dual Scepter, Treant Protector ulti on top of that. But it's hard for them to execute it because Night Stalker just goes in, doesn't care too much about any of the abilities, tries to find a target. Like, Zeus is the ideal target, and we can see he already died 6 times in this game, and Hellraisers also understands that. We need to take him out of the equation. Level 17,
Dire's
so
middle
a bit
tower
under
is
level
under
for
attack.
this time of the game.
Now both teams kind of weighing the options here, with Roshan alive in just 10 seconds. And bottom lane shoving towards Radiant side, top lane shoving towards Dire. Everything is as it should be, so it's now that battle of the mid. Who can clear out the mid wave and open up Roshan for themselves? Rod of Atos. Arrow doesn't connect because of the creep wave. Gets in front of it. PA just going to Manta jump away. They try the Blink Overgrowth, but DNZ not quite fast enough.
Double damage was dispelled, that's the important part. Roshan respawned. If Hellraisers get their Roshan, if they give Aegis
Oh,
to
the
Phantom
Zeus!
Assassin, Zeus found again!
They get him! There's Funnick with a backstab, beautifully timed, allowing Mirana to come in with an arrow, and they find the Zeus for, you said 6, now 7 times.
And this is Roche time. He does not have buyback. I mean, they don't know about it. They'll check, provoke, see if anything happens. If he uses buyback, they go back. But no buyback. It's a free Roche for Hellraisers. And this Phantom Assassin will pick it up. I mean, they didn't manage to kill her once this game. I'm not sure how they're gonna kill her twice.
Yeah, Zeus is 135 gold away from buyback, but the Aegis and the cheese belongs to Hellraisers. All they have to do is put that PA top, clear out the wave all the way across
Dire's middle tower is under
the river, and they should be perfectly fine. Look at the positioning here of Tempo. They're so bunkered down, hiding behind tier 3 towers, not moving out on the map. This game just belongs to HR. It's hit that point. Tempo didn't get towards critical mass. It looked good when they took down that top lane of barracks, but from there on out, it's been a real downhill slide.
They cannot make any aggressive moves. They don't have ways to set things up. Like, if you use Yule Scepter from Underlord, you don't have a defensive tool for yourself. Even though you are tanky enough, it's still that they don't have a counterplay. Overgrowth, that's it, pretty much, once they go in with the BKBs.
And they can't really split push, can they? Tempo. Like, Treant is trying. He's the only hero that can really get out on the map. Everyone else is so static, and they've got susceptibility to being jumped by the PA. Like, Zeus has the Ghost Scepter, just a dagger that's flying out in that top lane.
Dire's bottom
And this is
tower
where
under
it goes back
attack.
to the draft. And you were talking, while the panel was on, having a chat to me saying they would love to have Storm or Void Spirit or Ember Spirit. You mentioned Puck, I think?
Yeah,
Jeez, oh.
Okay.
Okay, Phonic, again, just missing out on the initiation. I think that they saw... How did Lil see him there? Lil saw DNZ, pinging him out, dusts him, but the TP has already concluded.
I think they needed a different hero on a mid lane who can make rotation, because you already have Train Protector and Underlord, and they were very limited on silences for, like, Puck. Ember Spirit got banned out, which was a good ban from Hellraisers. This way, I mean, lineup in general is... We're going to group up. We're going to go as 5, try to make stuff happen, get the advantage from the laning stage, and just snowball from there. But if they're split pushing, if they're cutting the waves, you do not have a counterplay to that.
Mitch. He's not really safe. He's silenced up. Oh my god, that's a lot of damage from Sunny and Nyx. Tries to get off the Dark Rift, and he has a Yule Scepter to play with. Maledict starts to tick. He's going to get home.
He's more than fine, even has that raindrop just in case he needs to pop it for the Maledict.
Forcing HR up to that northern part of the map.
Dire's
That's
bottom
kind of where
tower
they'd like
is
to
under
be, though.
attack.
Play it into the top tier 2, into that Radiant Triangle, where they can take full control and threaten a push onto
Radiant
high ground.
structures are
Arrow
fortified.
connects on Drow Ranger in
Dire's
base.
bottom tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
it did. She's got her BKB. Ethereal Blade coming up next, it looks like. So 4 defensive items for the Drow.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Aegis reclaimed in just over a minute and a half, though. I would love to see Hellraisers use that to close this one out. Do you feel they're maybe not fully comfortable?
Going high ground against Zeus, Train Protector, and Drow Ranger could be a bit tricky, so they want to get a pick off before they go.
Look at the bait being set up here. It felt like they were trying to play around the DNC Treant, but Enchantress inside that arena cleared up quite simply.
And they also have 2 big items coming on. So Phantom Assassin, full Abyssal Blade, nice stalker
Oh, Drow!
with the Nullifier.
Oh my god, the PA's found the Drow. Krillat, can you Manta? Can you Hurricane Pike? You can try and run away, but the PA still coming in hot. Nimbus keeps her at bay. Krillat looking to escape, but the second jump in. Nyx with a beyond godlike streak and some heavy crits. Drow Ranger just didn't stand a chance, and she's dead. Yo, she's dead for 70 seconds.
No buyback. She should be close. Yeah, just 100 gold away from that buyback. Next, we'll clear the creep wave. It's go time. They have 30 seconds left on that Aegis. Lel using Spider Legs just to scout things out on the high ground, see what's gonna happen if they're standing there. Mars, he's tanky boy right now. Craggy coat, some extra armor, Vlad's for the team, and Pipe, of course. Arrow connects on Zeus.
Was that on Zeus? Behind the Ancient. Not quite sure how he threaded the needle there. Lil with some incredible shots. Bottom lane, they do find DNZ, the Mars in on top of the Treant. Nimbus is a little bit irritating, and this Treant will turn to try and battle, maybe consider an overgrowth, but he's been silenced up. Xani and Funnick find the pick on the other side of the map, and a little bit of bonus gold from the Nimbus.
That's a lot of circles. I feel like we're having a geometry class right now. Circle, Mars Arena, Nimbus, bit of Malice.
There's Venn diagrams all over the place. Tempo do have this little advantage though with the Zeus, able to help de-ward quite nicely. So HR are struggling to keep aggressive vision up, which they need for the Blink Night Stalker, for the Arrows of Mirana. They need that aggressive vision to scout out where Tempo are lurking. Which is right now behind a tier 2.
One thing we didn't mention, Drow Ranger going for 5 stats on level 10 instead of a Gust Blind. I think that talent is a must-have when you're playing against hero like a Phantom Assassin. Also a hero that doesn't really build MKB early on.
Radiant's top tower is under
Yeah, and
attack.
PA opting to not go BKB
Yeah, PKP.
at all. PKB.
Radiant's top tower has
A
fallen.
bit of RuneScape still lurking in my brain with the old PK. I'm sure that went straight over your head, Lacoste. I don't peg you as a RuneScape player.
No, I don't know what that even is.
You don't know what RuneScape is?
Nope.
It's a classic, mate. One
Like,
of the best.
how old is that game?
God knows. Like, really, I can't remember. The early 2000s, maybe? Like 20 years ago? I don't know.
Radiant
Way better than World of Warcraft. It's the best MMO ever invented.
Okay, shots fired. Oh, Spell Prism. That's a sick
Funnick
item.
and Xani, they are really pissed off at this tree, and they're just throwing spells into trees, using Mars Arena to break them. Arrows landed on the Drow. Okay, Krillat, just gonna walk it back.
Thanks. Then
I'm in like Shadow. DNZ's invis in the trees. High ground being held by Tempo. Arrow won't connect as that Rod of Atos kind of counteracted by the Force Staff, but Enchantress blown up. This PA is on top of everybody in the Death Ward there. They take down the Yules and Underlord. He is done for. HR stampeding forward. Can the PA catch a glimpse of someone? She can.
There's the
Jumps
bash.
forward. Abyssal Blade. They stun her up. Krillat turns with the Gust and the buyback from Mitch to keep Tempo's chances alive. But all hopes are going down the drain now for the Radiant side. HR really in a domineering position.
Night Stalker had enough of those Dark Rift, Yule of Scepters, TP's out. So with the Nullifier, they actually managed to bring him down now with the Gem and Spell Prism, like lowering the cooldown on that Void, 6.4 seconds. He's
Hell yeah.
in.
Trying to use it immediately. Treant, he's got the backup here of the Mitch Underlord, but spear to the side of the arena. Funnick still working away. And the Treant, he's done for. Dark Rift, Yule Scepter. Mitch wants to go back to bloody home. It is a real rough one for Tempo to even move out of their base right now. Hellraiser's closing the net in around them.
They're still respecting Treant Protector, Zeus, Drow Ranger, and Underlord. Like, these are one of the best high ground defenders in the game. What they can do, you know, just get the more gold advantage, fate for the next throw, cheese, Aegis +1. It's gonna be cheese, Aegis plus Refresher. It always is. Like, I don't remember seeing Aghanim Scepter as third item in a long time.
Yeah, it's never Aghanims when we're casting.
I'm wondering if it's just straight up 50-50, or if there is a higher chance of rolling for Refresher.
I think it's 50-50, but we're just a bit unlucky. PA consumes her Aghanims. Now has a slot opened up for the Satanic. And there's the jump in from the Mars. PA making short work of that Underlord, who is now dead for 100 seconds. No buyback. So one of the elements of the high ground defense that you were mentioning now out of the picture.
under attack.
And that Pit of Malice is a really important part as well. Without it, they can clear up Nimbus pretty simply, jump in onto the Drow Ranger. Because the Pit is that dual effect. Oh, hello. Mars just blinking in aggressively. Oh, he's got Minotaur Horn, that's why.
is under attack.
But yeah, the pit is there to defend Drow, but also play aggressively on the PA.
Still, they
Without
can't
it.
breach the high ground even without Underlord. Okay, wait for the next Roche. We'll respawn in 10 seconds. Get that Cheese Aegis +1. Phantom Assassin will have full Satanic right now.
Oh yeah, has a nicely placed courier to deliver it straight away. PA 32,200 and something net worth.
Check the Roche, Gary. You're gonna be surprised.
Oh, it's a refresher shard! What a surprise! It's never Aghanims, I swear. When we're casting it, never Aghanims.
When you think about Aghanims versus Refresher Shard, I think in a lot of situations, having Aghanim Scepter is much better choice. There's gonna be like one hero at least who wants to get Aghanim Scepter upgrade. There's still cheese available in the pit. No one's picking that one up.
Nobody wants it.
Free stuff.
Yeah, Night Stalker needs to eat his Aghanims. Get that blessing. He's got a Moon Shard queued up though. Smoke with Moonlight Shadow. Hellraisers, off we go. A day at the races. They want to make the jump onto anyone other than Underlord. But apparently Funnick has already whiffed on everything. Pops his Minotaur Horn and he gets the hell out of there. But the PA wants in. The bait and switch. They jump on LeBron and clear her up. Enchantress going to lose the Aegis. PA very close to losing the Aegis, but does jump away.
They're
Just losing the Aegis.
They're just getting rid of all the vision. I was like, yeah, I'm kind of used to Garrett saying
Another
stupid
jump.
stuff. There's the buyback.
There is the refresher shot used by Funnick, and they got the arena to clear up LeBron. The dieback is there, and they're focusing down on Mitch. That poor Underlord, tanky as you may be, cannot withstand the onslaught of damage. As Hellraisers bring it all. 2 heroes dead without buyback, and 3 alive for Tempo as they just watch their base crumble to pieces in front of their very
Still
eyes.
alive. Right. Okay, now it's gonna fall. No doubt about it.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen. Radiant's middle
And it seems like no chance. The jump in from the PA straight onto the Drow, who Ghost Scepters. Does get away. But the PA still holding onto that Aegis. At half HP with a Satanic to toy around with as well. Could make another jump at any moment. Ghost Scepters blinks, everything being used to bait spells and items as Tempo desperately holding onto their base. And it looks like, for the moment anyway, they haven't lost a lane of barracks. They're healing it up, living armor's going. HR not committing.
Like, what else could they throw to have a better defense? Repick Enchanters into Earthshaker. Drow Rangers,
There's the
he's gone.
jump onto Drow blown up, but buys back. And the melee Rax is still somehow standing. Another Arena of Blood, the third one of this fight. Catches Treant with a nice little spear. And a beyond godlike PA secures yet another kill. The lane has fallen. But will the rest of the base, as Tempo have 4 alive again?
There's still cheese inside the pit. No one wants to pick it up. Oh, maybe they're allergic to cheese. They
Lactose
are
intolerant.
Lactose intolerant, yeah.
tower is under attack.
How often do you get that? How often does someone misspell Lacoste as lactose?
A lot of
Well, we'll
time.
come back to the second. They've got the Abyssal Blade and Drow Ranger die back. GG's call. Tempo tap out as Hellraisers make a nice comeback after losing that lane of Barracks top at 23 minutes. It really was their game from there on out. We knew their item timings would be a strong swing for them, but I didn't quite expect that kind of performance.
Yeah, I mean, they just needed to drag the game in the mid game, not lose. They did a good job picking off Zeus so many times, and like, their decision making is okay. Hellraisers, what they're playing right now, how they're playing compared to how they played 2 months ago, it's a completely different team. They're changing one player constantly, but still they have it inside of them. Like, you can see that they can play some good Dota.
Yeah, it looks like Nyx, while he's drafting and captaining, if he gives himself PA in this kind of situation, 1806 with 37,000 net worth. A perfect game from your Phantom Assassin there. Well, Noob, 8 deaths as a Zeus. We knew he was going to have struggles no matter what happened, but it was a good draft, good bans, and yes, Lacoste, I am ready for game 2. So we'll see you guys after the break. Check you out then.
These emotions on my head, taking a toll. I gotta pay it forward. I'll give it all that I can. No matter my blood, and I won't take no for an answer. If it don't hurt me, it makes me stronger. And I won't live up. It's in my soul, it's in my blood, and I won't take it no more. I'll be again. We never sleeping on the floor again. For the ones who didn't make it out, for the ones that didn't see the light, for the ones that never cared, never gave a thought, found no happiness in that brand new car or the house you bought. I see you talking about the love you lost, and it was gone like way before you ever thought it was. Yeah, I took my time, no quick ones, quick run, quick guys to get back there. Hot roads, I didn't think I'd come back fast, cause I was running road so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. This is such a ghostly revelation. I may have fucked up all my chances. Fucked up all my chances. I was running. And we are never feeling cold again. And we are never feeling cold again. But I can't act like it's easy. It's hard to preach. Cause I've been burning trees and watching fall. If we cannot breathe out, we go forward. Sure, I was searching for cure. Fishing a little wildlife. And when I'm low on fuel, I'll still be running till my back broke. Halfway, lost hope and I'll check it. Hard roads, I didn't think I'd come back fast. Cause I was running roads so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. This is such a ghostly revelation. I may have fucked up all my chances. Fucked up all my chances. Been around the globe, looked around, nothing fitted. Seen high and lows, but you won't even get it. Been around the globe, think it's time to admit it's not the end, but the road, and you won't even get it. Been around the globe, looked around, nothing fitted. Seen high and lows, but you won't even get it. Been around the globe, think it's time to admit it's not the end, but the road. I was running. I was running roads so many nations. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. This is such a ghostly revelation. I may have fucked up all my chances. Fucked up all my chances. I was running, I know.
They didn't need BKB, they didn't need the cheese either. Hellraisers got the first victory here against Tempo and put themselves one map away from staying here in ESL 1 Germany. And unfortunately for Tempo, they have one final chance to stay in the tournament. Now I've got my panel back to break down game number 1. Danog, Godot, lads, that was a bit of a back and forth game.
It was, but it went pretty much as we were expecting, right? Just drafting for pretty strong lanes, you're always going to get a good exchange out of it. But then once it got to that mid-late game, what can you really do against the PA and the Night Stalker getting in on top of your face?
Yeah, kind of played out exactly how we were talking in the panel. I mean, we already saw the Underlord pick coming forth to really deal with the lane, and they had a very lack of CC to deal with the PA in the later stages. It just got to the point where he got 2 items, they took 1 or 2 fights, and then the game was just downhill from there on out.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of needed that second person that was going to be doing some of the frontlining, because Underlord is okay at it, and I thought some of the item usage was a little subpar as well. You know, he built into this halberd, which of course, really good against the PA, but very rare that he actually got it off in a lot of these team fights. Just the burst came way too thick and fast.
Yeah, I felt they needed an actual hero to kind of enable the Drow as well as the Zeus. Obviously, they did pick the Zeus in the later stages of the drafting phase, but I felt with the tree, the Underlord, then you have Drow as well as the Enchantress, right? There's just no real synergies. If you're playing from the back foot, there's no real recovery mechanic there. I mean, the only real synergy I see was perhaps the Aghanims from the Zeus, the Nimbus, and the Overgrowth if the tree is hunting on the side lanes. But by that point in time, I mean, you're going to have to deal with the PA's Manta, who can just get rid of the Overgrowth. If you go on the Nightstalker, you can just Black King bar away anyways. So I think one of the things pointed out by the casters was that they're just playing their bread and butter tempo, but it's just one of those things where you have to adapt during the tournament. You can't play the same thing. Not only does the enemy team research on you, but they have their own changes as well according to what you play. So it's one of those situations that already figured out how you play and they know how to win against you, so you can't do the same thing.
It was a much more solid Hellraisers draft overall, I think, just compared to even their previous series that they've played. Just because you've got this Mars, it was a fantastic Mars game, and even then there was some subpar ultimate usages, some spears that didn't quite hit the mark, but at the end of the day, you just need to toss that Arena of Blood between the Drow and the rest of the team fight, and he can't do anything. You know, you can get off a multi-shot, but beyond that, not really that much you can do. And then, yeah, we mentioned it before, the itemization coming out from Nyx, absolutely fantastic. Not needing the BKB, you know, you've got a lot of stuff that you can just simply dispel with a Manta style and the Ag Scepter, you know, a 10-second dispel to get rid of Overgrowth, Gust, Root, Enchant. It was just so effective.
And the really good thing about this particular game was their last pick, the Nightstalker last pick. We were complaining it the first time we saw it because he didn't really rotate the first 12 minutes, but this was the opposite. This game, he actually did a lot of things. He went to the side lanes, created a lot of havoc, got a few kills, relieved pressure.
He got lucky, though. He got the DD at level 4 minutes, Arcane at 6 minutes when he pops the Dark Ascension,
as well.
and then a DD at 8 minutes. So you can't ask for much of a better early game. But maybe that comes down to the fact that, like we were mentioning with Tempo, they didn't really have the supports that were going to roam and guard those runes. So if you're going up against a Nightstalker, you know he wants to rotate, and that's where it started to, you know, go a bit further back into to Hellraiser's favor, because Tempo, at the end of the day, they still took a lane of racks, but if they were able to slow down this Nightstalker's timing a little bit, maybe it would have been more than that, and maybe it would have been enough to be able to bring it across the line.
And I felt as well the reason they took the racks was just due to a few mistakes by Hellraisers as well. The Nightstalker overcommitting throughout, I think, the 20-minute mark when they were at the enemy triangle. That led to Roshan, and then the Roshan led to the racks itself after a pick-off as well on the Witch Doctor, I think it was. Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't a flawless game by any stretch of the imagination from Hellraisers. It felt like, you know, the Mirana didn't really do all that much. Not to say Lil didn't play it well. He was hitting arrows left, right, and center, but just it didn't feel like the hero for the draft. But I guess that kind of comes with the territory when you are first picking it.
Yeah, I also think maybe the build-up for the Mirana, the itemization, wasn't ideal. I would have just liked to see a straight Yule's Rush, no Tranquils or anything like that. And that way he wouldn't have died a lot of times to the Gusts combos or even just the Overgrowth or whatnot. But all in all, I just felt like the hero was good, because the Moonlight Shadow in the later stages, the setup for his team, then you have the Nightstalker providing vision as well as the Arena to enable your cores to actually keep them in there. I just think it was just mainly really nice play by Hellraisers. Obviously, the lanes maybe can be a little fixed in terms of the Mars Mirana laning composition, but on top of that, I think execution-wise, pretty good in mid-game.
Well, it looks like Hellraisers are on the up and up here in their series against Tempo, but as is customary here after game number 1, it's time for our DHL drop quiz for day number 8. For those of you playing along at home, make sure you do use exclamation point DHL drop and the corresponding letter to the answer you guys want to give. We also do have a nice little motion blog link below for you guys to check where you're standing here on our live leaderboard. So let's head into question of day number 8 here. It is another interesting one. What is the break distance of IO's tether? A, 800, B, 900 units, C, 1,000 units, or D, 1,100 units? For all you IO players out there, I'm sure you guys are frothing at the mouth to try and get this answer out here for our DHL drop quiz. So make sure you do use exclamation point DHL drop and the corresponding letter to the answer you guys want to give. So now we're going to give you guys a couple of minutes here to try and get the answer for our DHL drop. And on the other side of this as well, we're going to couple that with game number 2 draft here between Hellraisers and Tempo. Only one map separates these teams between elimination and heading forward here in ESL 1 Germany. Make sure you guys see us after the break.
Are you the biggest Dota 2 fan? Then look out for the DHL Drop Quiz and show off your incredible Dota knowledge. Reply with the right answer in Twitch chat and track your position on our live leaderboard. Will you make it to the top and win the €1,000 prize? Hashtag Gamers Unite.
With the right CPU, you can turn any game from familiar to phenomenal. Unleash the potential in all your gaming with Intel 10th Gen processors. With its optimal balance of threads, cores, and frequency to deliver elite real-world performance, only Intel can bring Marvel's Avengers to life with in-game PC optimizations. Supercharge your Marvel's Avengers experience with Intel Core i5, i7, and i9 processors.
You ready? Huh? Hey, he's a good boy, huh? You ready? Huh?
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
to survive with you. I feel alive, now I'm feeling like up to the fine, will it stand the test of time? Right now I need a sign. Tell me if it's over, come a little closer. We should take our time to think this damn thing over. Should we go closer? Should this be...
ESL One Germany 2020 Online is brought to you by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, Mountain Dew Game Fuel, DHL, GGBet, Corsair, Acer Predator, and Bitburger 0.0.
I hope you guys are relaxed and refreshed here for game number 2 and also the answer for our DHL drop quiz of day number 8. As you guys can see here, my lovely little friend Gazza is starting to lounge around on this ESL branded face mask, which you guys can win here from our DHL drop quiz. So make sure you guys do get in your answers every single day at the end of game number 1 of every series for ESL 1 Germany. But now, let's go see how our answer is for day number 8 here at ESL 1 Germany. And again, Darcy, you're wrong. You talked about this in the break. You're like, I'm sure it's 800. I'm sure it's 800. It's not, dude. It's 900. Like I said, because I'm the prediction champ.
It's because Iceprog likes 900, let's be real.
Exactly. 900, 1200, that's basically the two numbers that he loves to stick by. But these teams, they love to stick by certain drafts and certain heroes. So what are we expecting for game number 2, boys?
More Enchantress. I don't see why you wouldn't. It's picked on both teams, but I feel like not necessarily that Hellraisers have more flexibility around it, but
yeah.
I just think that they've got a more well-rounded draft.
Yeah, they also play Lina. Both teams play Lina. It was banned in the first phase by Hellraisers, I believe, and also Magnus is another hero that they tend to play a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're banned or picked as well as the Enchantress.
So kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type deal?
I think, well, there's the Enchantress. And Phoenix is gone this time as well. I was a little surprised that it made it all the way through in the previous one, not picked or banned. And Magnus gone as well. Yeah, I think this is a pretty standard opening. Venomancer in response. So this is something that we saw during
Na'Vi.
ESL Thailand and Na'Vi, specifically to try and counter this Faceless Void. Because, you know, in a similar way where you've got an Enchantress to secure the lane for your Faceless, Veno does the exact opposite. He's like a direct counter to the Faceless Void for the laning stage because it's a lot of slow damage over time. You can't just easily time walk it off. And it just means that you're constantly going to be harassed while you're trying to get these last hits. So
yeah,
I'm expecting Hellraisers now. They've already got the Tusk, and they're just going to get hyper aggressive right now. They just need to be able to push, get forward, get their objective super early on, and make sure this Void never has a game.
Yeah, there's definitely a few approaches that Tempo can go to dealing with this Venomancer, and one of them would be to start as a tri-lane and just try to repetitively kill the Venomancer when the creeps just clash. But it's one of those situations where if you invest a lot of resources to deal with the Veno and you don't end up killing him, it just really snowballs out of hand. And then the other lanes who are left alone, you know, they suffer as well on top of that. But yeah, I mean, Faceless Void was actually banned in the second phase, so I can see why they actually picked it here. And as we saw in the Na'Vi game as well before, they had the Doom as well as the Venomancer to deal with the Faceless Void, and he just really had no game in that particular matchup. I'm just wondering if they actually opt to go for the Doom here, because it looks like a really good Doom lineup right now. They have the Oracle to protect them. They can run Doom middle here, Venomancer off lane. It's going to be really good against these heroes as well. You just don't have enough damage to deal with the Doom, and then Doom gets the Doom off on the Faceless Void. You just don't have a team fight anymore.
You don't have anything, yeah, exactly right. And again, it's a very CIS style of playing Dota. You know, I've mentioned it before. You turn a 5v5 into a 6v4 when you've got a second life through the False Promise, and you've got the Doom just to completely eliminate a hero from the game. But they're going for a Spectre as well on top of that. Okay, so still giving them some late game potential. One of those cores that still does have a good matchup against the Faceless Void super late on, but here's that big combination.
All right, well,
you run the risk of being run over still, though, on Tempo's side. That's my worry.
I'm a little worried about this Invoker. I mean, it just seems like a Rikimaru kind of pick for mid now for Hellraisers, which is also really good against the Faceless Void because you can cloud into Diffusal to prevent him from time walking out. You have the Oracle to back you up. You have the Enabler tag team from the Tusker as well with the Rikimaru. And we saw this, I believe, from OG the other day.
OG ran it and then Secret ran it.
Yeah, so, I mean, it seems like an easy pair-up right now, unless they don't I mean, they should ban it. Surely they will expect this coming, because it's already been done twice, and Invoker picked this early kind of just makes it easy to ban out the heroes you don't want to verse, and I mean, Ricky Mara should be one of them here. Spectre, however, I'm not too sure. It's a pretty free Spectre game, and it's really good with the Venoman, so you have that global presence with the Spectre, and then you have that damage over time from the Venomancer's ultimate, which makes it very easy for the Spectre to clean up.
It still feels like such a damn good Doom game, man, for Hellraisers. You know,
I agree.
Getting hyper aggressive, Doom good against like 2 of the main heroes for the tempo draft. It means that you're not necessarily always looking out for the Void. Invoker, you're happy enough to take him out of the fight. And as well, even if you put the Spectre, you know, have him fight a little bit more on the front lines when it does get into that mid game, you can save your buyback, use it, haunt back in, so then you've got that 7v4, and that's kind of the OG style. We mentioned them before, right? Numbers, you know, that's what we love. They make the world go round. But I mean, it's just the weight of it, right? That at the end of the day is going to win Hellraisers these team fights if they take them the right way. Yeah,
I mean, I just don't see this Invoker being played in any other lane. It's also pretty obvious the bans they've selected here, just clearly stating that the Invoker is going to be playing mid and I don't want to verse these certain heroes. But right now, I mean, I would be more scared of a Doom and a Ricky Mara here than I would be of a Kunkka, for example, here. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what HR actually approaches for, because we did see some unusual picks from mid, right? The Night Stalker, for example. So I'm sure maybe you can play some other unorthodox heroes at mid that can kind of shut down the Invoker or being good for the game itself.
What do we need here for tempo? They need a DNZ hero, I believe.
They need someone that can roam. They need to make this Invoker's lane as easy as possible. That's why Hellraisers have gotten rid of the Mirana, probably the strongest one that was left in the pool, considering Tusk is out.
They need an enabler as well for the off lane here, because this Centaur is not going to be able to play the lane on its own against an Oracle Spectre. Spectre's just going to free farm. So there's 2 approaches. Is you go for that roamer 4, and you kind of just drag the creeps around, let Centaur have a solo XP time, and you can run around middle. So it could be those Clockworks, it could be those Tinies, or the other approach is just lane emphasis hero like Alina, but it's already banned, so...
Okay. A Willow, it's alright.
I'm not a fan against Oracle as well. He can just dispel most of the roots here, and you're not going to be able to fully zone out the Spectre in the laning phase as well. So it's going to be, in the end of the day, a hero that's going to pair up with the Chronosphere and some kind of addition to the setup.
And even, like, especially against the Oracle, right? Yes, you can get the dispels off, but I've said it before, if you pick a Willow, it's because you want to get these single target pickoffs, and Oracle can just Fate's Edict and you don't get any of that.
Yeah, they also can snowball to save in this particular game. It's not easy to kill a Spectre or even a Venomancer because he builds, like, utility items could be the Greaves in this particular game, right? To get rid of these combo setups for the kills. So it's
I would have gone an Earth Spirit or something like that instead. I think it's something that can get aggressive. It means that you're not just leaving your Centaur to run in first, because then you're just going to get galed, right? And they're going to finish things up with a Dragon Knight.
Oh, okay. What we wanted from game number 1?
It's okay. I just feel like it might be... Like, it's not a slow hero, but it's very much an immobile hero, right? And I feel like they're going to need to try and rotate around. And yeah, Veno's going to give the Void a tough time in that safe lane, but still, I think you need to really crush that to make sure that Nyx is going to have no opposition in that top lane.
Yeah, I would have really liked to Doom this game, and it's a hero they actually play. The DK is fine. It's going to have a free lane. It's going to be able to pressure that mid tower, especially if it's a Quaswex Invoker. He wants to run around. If you do, you're going to get punished. And there's no real hero that can deal with the DK this particular game. There's no hero that's going to have the insane amount of damage until Cataclysm, obviously, that can pair up with the Chronosphere. So he's going to have a pretty free game, and they can play around him and the Veno. The Oracle can play backup. So I like the pick.
Yeah. What are we going to pick here for predictions, so boys? We need an answer. We need a name.
I'm going to say Hellraisers, but it's entirely reliant on them being just so aggressive in the laning stage. Because if they're not, and you get that Cataclysm to come online, even a Spectre's not going to be enough.
What about you, Darcy? Where you sit?
I think easy 2-0. I'm sorry, Tempo.
All right, looks like easy 2-0. Here's what my panel says. Unfortunately for Tempo, they are not getting backed by my boys here on the desk. Let's see if they're backed by our casters, who are going to be Gareth and Lacoste.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, with the draft all wrapped up, we've got our heroes all set. Tempo up against Hellraisers here in Game 2 of this best of 3. I'm Gareth, joined again by Lacoste. How are you feeling? Which way are you leaning?
Well, I'm a bit concerned that they're not going to have enough damage inside the Chronosphere if it's not a godly plays Chronosphere, like on the edge. Dark Willow, not very convinced by this last pick. It's also Dark Willow into Oracle, which I really dislike. I don't think you're gonna get the most out of the hero. And every single time I see Faceless Void, if the enemy team is stubborn enough to not pick any kind of saves, I'm like, guys, you know, there's a Shadow Demon, there's Wyvern, there's Oracle, pick one. Like anything that, you know, stops you from dying instantly. And this game, they have Oracle, so pretty easy thinking coming out from Hellraisers, which I really like. And they also have another save, not during the Chronosphere, but Tusk, Dragonite, and Spectre, hard heroes to kill. They don't have anyone who actually gets any kind of break. We were talking during the draft, I suggested possibly a Nyx Assassin as their position for the last pick, who has a break for Spectre, set up for Sunstrike kills. I don't think Dark Willow can achieve as much as position 4 compared to some other position 4 heroes.
Yeah, like that panel was mentioning, Venomancer likes to build tanky as well. Very often going for utility items, you know, your Greaves, your Pipe, all this good stuff. So you're going to have 3 very difficult to kill core heroes on HR during that Chronosphere, as well as all the saves it's mentioning. Looking down at that bottom lane, Faceless Void. We've seen plenty of players go for, you know, Ring of Regen. Ace was buying up 2 Rings of Regen. How many Rings of Regen does a Void need against the Venomancer, Lacoste?
Garrett, he needs all of them. Like, this is a lane that the Void doesn't really shine playing against any kind of overtime damage. He always struggles. He has Enchantress as a laning partner. We'll see what kind of build Enchantress is going to go for. Like, I think in this scenario, you need to get points in nature attendance earlier on instead of going for just, you know, straight up damage build. You want to secure the lane for your Faceless Void. There is skill potential coming out from Hellraisers, but for these 2 heroes paired up together, I don't think you can get a kill unless they overextend or until Faceless Void gets level 6.
Oh, King R having a difficult early game, being pummeled into the ground by DNZ already. Dark Willow just with a quick brambles there, bringing him low. And this top lane from Tempo, it's always been a really nice go-to standard combo, the Centaur and the Dark Willow, as you've got Cursed Crown, Stomp, a lot of roots, stuns, and plenty of damage as well. We'll see how they fare up against the Oracle and the Spectre with their sustain and tankiness. And then in mid lane, where we see a pause coming out from Noob, Invoker has gone Exalt level 1. We'll see if that continues. And that'll be the direction for him, if it's going to be an Exalt game, as we do have that Chrono, and like you said, they are lacking a bit of damage into the bubble from Void. Having Cataclysm or an early Aghanim Scepter here could be a huge boost for Tempo.
These Chronosphere will need to land early on so they get the kills, but we discussed, like, these heroes are really, really tanky, and they have a decent chase potential. Whenever you're playing against a Centaur, you need to have heroes that, you know, can stun people, a lot of slows. It's not too good, but, you know, against the Centaur ulti, but still you have a lot of slows. You have Tag Team, Spectre with the dagger, Poison Stings, and I think in this kind of game, Centaur definitely needs to buy a pipe. Against the Venomancer, they also have no saves. They only have 1 heal coming up from Enchanters, which I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, then Ice Shards as well are going to be super useful against that Stampede.
Yeah.
We saw a nice little play bottom a second ago, as DNZ actually sniping out a Courier top. But the early Enchantress creep was dealt with very quickly by a tag team. Krillat actually had to deny it. That early creep, though, it often feels like Enchantress needs to get something done with it. You know, usually harassing and trading hits early on. So LeBron losing that loses a lot of that potency in the early laning stage.
No, they can do it one more time. Block both of those camps. Venomancer going for a Gale build, so much more kill potential. Tusk only level 1 at the moment, but once he gets a point in a snowball or just Ice Shards to block people off, I think this is the lane to look for first blood, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you're already seeing LeBron probably going to have to salve up in a second once the Gale has expired. It just keeps the tangos going for now. But the camps continue to get blocked up, like you were mentioning. Observer Ward there and the body blocking from Tusk. Make sure that Enchantress has to go on a bit of a wander to find a creep. It's going to be the big Satyr. That's going to keep you nicely topped up. Double Ring of Regen for the Faceless Void. Like you were saying, he needs all of the regen he can get.
And now with the aura coming out from Satyr Tormentor, extra 5 regen. Not sure why it's 5, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, he's sitting at like 12 HP regen a second. Shards and tag team forcing LeBron back. And then this Gale and Poison Sting from Phonic really handling Krillat quite nicely.
Venomancer's harassing a lot, but you know, his CS is not the best. He has 6 last hits, 3 denies, faces void 10 and 8.
Yeah, it's like continual applied pressure. But Lil with full HP, full mana with shards and tag team now. If they can focus down the Enchantress, get that body out of the lane, it makes playing into the void much simpler. I think we can take a peek into some of the other lanes. You know, that's definitely going to be the focus early on. A mid lane, Invoker 14-3, evenly trading farm with a DK. As we'd expect here, Dragon Blood against Quas. There's just going to be no real reason to trade harass or battle with the opponent. Just hit creeps for the most part, and you'll be perfectly fine. And then top lane, maybe kill threat here from Tempo. They've dragged this wave back to their tier 1, so they've now got a long lane to chase in. And DNZ with Mitch might be able to find something to play with, especially up against the squishy King R Oracle. But
Oh, Sunstrike is available on Kingar. Will it connect?
It's going, it's going. Fate's Edict, not enough. Pure damage, straight through. And DNZ with that Shadow Realm, just the right-click attack, enough to get the first blood for Tempo.
Championship belt for some quick gold. I know a guy.
It's a really nice start there as Noob actually looking double null into drums. So no Hand of Midas for your Invoker. I'm just going to go for some early stats.
He might still get Hand of Midas after the drums. Just wants to, you know, not be that creep in the middle lane. Have some extra mana sustain, 2 Nellies for extra mana regen, and some stats as well.
Things pretty calm in that mid lane.
As expected. I mean, these two heroes don't really threaten a kill on each other. Even if Dragon Knight gets level 6, I don't think you can kill Invoker. No points.
Stomp and Sunstrike top. King R again, sniped out. Mitch with DNZ. Looking for all this early aggression with the stuns that they've got available to them. King R has to be much more careful with his positioning now. Because you die as the Oracle and you're leaving the Spectre alone in a 1v1 against the Centaur who's just farming away, top of the CS board, and trading hits with you.
Another stomp on Spectre, no boots on her.
Can they slow her down? Bramble Maze comes out, and the Stomp out of range. Mitch is trying to close the gap. The body blocks, and the Stomp is there. With the Sunstrike, they'll bring down the Spectre slowly but surely. She turns to fight, but DNZ, he's all right. Tempo 3-0 start. All off the back of this Invoker with the Sunstrikes.
I'm not sure why Oracle did not TP back to the lane. He's walking back. Just wants to plant some vision, a sentry, observer ward available. 2 observer wards, sorry, 2 sentries, but could not find enemy's observer because there isn't one.
Yeah, there was one on the high ground all the way to the far right-hand side watching for couriers coming in. That's where the Radiant Observer Ward was, but now expires. Now DK with a DD rune and a catapult. LeBron getting picked off bottom as the dive comes in. The Sunstrike misses. Snowball out will allow Lil and Phonic to escape after getting the kill. And Tempo, they put the Void up top now, so swapping their lanes completely around.
Tusk with 1-1-1 build. It's a lot of kill potential, but that build needs a ton of mana. Like, using that combo is 250 mana, and your mana pool is 320, so not the greatest. You need to have some clarities running, an extra mango always in your inventory. As you mentioned, Faceless Void is on top for now, so they're going to swap things around, try to get Faceless Void a better lane. He's level 4, Spectre level 5.5. I don't think he's going to get too much farm in this lane either.
No, it doesn't look amazing, but at least he's away from the Venomancer now. And I think Morbid Mask coming to him might indicate the Void going to jungle as they stampede bottom straight in. As Mitch helps out Noob yet again, getting a Sunstrike kill. Phonic this time, the one to fall. Top lane, they're going for a bit of a dive. LeBron, he's on the enemy side, sharded and trapped inside, but the tree's there blocking him, and he's placed one down himself, so no vision. here for Hellraisers, but it allows Nyx to close the gap and King R to finally snipe out the Enchantress.
Void might need to just jungle and completely bail the top lane, see what's going to happen, and then adjust accordingly, go to the bottom lane, or just continue farming the jungle. But 2 rings and Morbid Mask, he has enough sustain in the jungle. I don't think they can get a kill on this Faceless Void.
No, it's still going for it. Giving it a good old college try. Snowball forward. Purifying Flames being spammed out here now. 2 stacks up on the Void, but the Shards again. Trapping Krill out with a Sunstrike there. Sniping Lil. Invoker getting involved from global range once more. And 5-2. The kill score lead for Tempo as they bring numbers top.
Yeah, the global presence from Invoker is giving them so many kills and kill opportunities. Smoke from Tempo. They want to get this Dragon Knight.
Yeah, the combo from Invoker, the classic Cold Snap with the Tornado Meteor, and they slow down the Dragon Knight, but he's tanky. This boy is running back behind his tier 1, Deafening Blast. And LeBron's final touch will clear him up, but Noob is trapped inside the Shards. Lil doing a great job there with the tower to help, and the Spectral Horn. Snowball forward. Noob is close to death, and Nyx will arrive, but no dagger.
Mana.
No mana.
A little bit of a miscommunication.
Is Spectre dead?
Spectre, yeah, she's dead, Gary, very dead. So they just handed 2 kills for nothing. Might even get another one on King R.
Yeah, they're chasing that Oracle, but DNZ, nothing left in his pockets. He's out of spells, all on cooldown. Invoker, 5-0-3. Hand of Midas is queued. He's had a perfect start to this game. Sunstrike kills, good laning stage, 4K net worth.
He is involved in every single kill. 8 out of 8. And I talked about the build, like you get the drums, 2 null talismans, so you have mana sustain, mana regen, even Faded Brooch on top of that, and then you go back to Hand of Midas because what this hero needs is levels.
Keep on scaling.
I'm not a big fan of Venomancer, sorry Gary, going for like 2 points in Gale, not maxing out Plague Wards. Because you have no tower damage if Dragon Knight is not there. But we can see Dragon Knight, a lot of overtime damage, keeping him alive.
They don't really have hero damage, never mind tower damage. Mitch is still half HP with 1 charges, Stampede in. Krill out with the Chrono there, lands on Lil as the Meteor Sunstrike. Not going to do a great amount. Mitch has already fallen, and now the stuns onto the Invoker. They've been baited into this battle. Nyx is going to be the one to take the kill streak away, and the DK still surviving with the Terrorize there. DNZ shoving back both Tusk and Venno. As Funnick gets 1 more spell out, but a 2-for-2 trade under that tower where you kill the 2 highest net worth heroes. That's super worth it for Hellraisers.
It is. Did Spectre get any of the last hits? Yeah, she got the kill on Invoker, so that's pretty big. 400 gold. Hand of Midas completed on Spectre. Let's see the efficiency. Ooh, 5 seconds. I mean, I'm gonna allow it. I'm fine with that.
I'll allow it. But yeah, 700 net worth swing, now down to a 1k lead for Tempo. Spectre allowed to catch up a little bit. And still, in this bottom lane, you've got Venomancer. Back to your point about the old Gale and the Plague Wards. It's a little bit unusual, but I guess he's still going to get to that point where he's got the 4 points in Plague Ward as he'll max them out now. And Spirit Vessel, reasonably close for Funnick.
Even more overtime damage on top of that. They have no ways of dispelling things. They don't have any kind of save, so it's gonna be very efficient item.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Dragon Knight trying to hold on to that mid-tier 1. Breathing fire on the creeps, but unable to drag aggro. And Tempo just glyph it up. Looking for that early objective. Looks like Dragon Knight wanting that Blink Dagger to get even more instant initiation. We often think about DK against heroes like Puck or Storm or Ember. Against a Void, equally as useful. Being able to jump and stun him, even into the Chrono when you've got the Dragon form going.
You just need someone to start a team fight. Tusk isn't really that hero. Like, you want to keep that Snowball mostly for the saving abilities. And yeah, there's going to be an easy follow-up with the Spectre. Dragon Knight blinks in. Venomancer just setting a perimeter of the wards on top. Defending the tower. I don't think you can do too much about it.
has been killed.
Centaur increasing his farm. Now 1,000 gold saved, I guess, towards Blink Dagger. Do you think Mitch needs to finish the pipe before going Blink?
They also lack initiation, so I'm fine with him getting a Blink Dagger first. And then he can swap back to pipe. Also, Lotus Orb will be high value. They caught Venom, and they actually did not catch him.
Funnick is just going to try and walk away into the Sunstrike. No, not quite. They've got the stuns it takes to bring him down, though. Hellraiser's not really in a position to react to it. Spectre still down bottom. Has a haunt as the rest of the team playing aggressively into the Radiant Triangle. Noob invis in the Ghost Ward, but they've got a stun on the Dark Willow, punching her up, and that's it. She's done. With a tornado there, Noob is trying to cold snap up Lil. Shards won't get him to the high ground, so the 1-for-1 trade as the two +4s do hand over their lives for each other.
I still think it's an okay trade for Hellraiser. Spectre's farming on the bottom lane, not being pressured at all. Oh, it actually is 4k gold lead for Tempo, so, you know, numbers are not lying.
Yeah, good early start. Funnick showing top. He's a target that Tempo have gone on previously, but the backup is here. Blink DK. Level 3 tag team. Jump onto the Centaur and off they go. Shards trap him in with a good terrorize, though. They've saved Mitch's life, at least for a couple of seconds. The Purifying Flames, not enough, and now the dagger forward. And Spectre giving chase, haunting in aggressively, but Mitch is perfectly fine. And even has some salves thanks to that trusty shovel to fall back on.
Just a wee fairy going about her business.
Okay,
It
two
doesn't
big
feel good to
ultis.
use haunt like that.
Yeah, it's on a level 1 haunt, so 3 minutes cooldown.
Dragon form as well, 30 seconds till it's back. Tier 1 tower mid on the Radiant side, under 300 HP. DK would love to go and finish that one off. There's a lot of space now for Faceless Void and Invoker. Level 11 on Noob. Krillat, level 10. He's going to go Mask of Madness into S and Y on the Faceless Void, it looks like.
Some tankiness, some status resistance so that he can't get bursted against these stun slows, so they're gonna last less. Still struggling against the Venomancer. Wards are maxed out now, so the way they need to approach this is get a good initiation from a Centaur. He has his Blink Dagger being delivered right now, or he needs to use a Stampede and just run through the wards.
Beautiful scan. Whoever used it on the Radiant team just saved Krillat's life. Dire Obs Ward spotted him as he was maneuvering around, farming in that bottom jungle. But Radiant get the scan to connect, and HR's move comes to nothing.
Even though Tempo has been losing most of their games lately, I've been very impressed the way DNZ plays. Like, he's been very stable.
Yeah, good position for him now as well, just sitting a little offset from the rest of his team, ready to counter-initiate. That Terrorize has been beautifully placed in the last couple of fights. As a Radiant Observer will this time scouts out the DK. Blink Stomp, Sunstrike, throw the kitchen sink at Xani. He pops his wand, but that's never going to save you. Noob there with an inordinate amount of damage. As Invoker maxing out Exort really does pump damage very quickly and very heavily, especially pre-BKB.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Seems like this is
Catapult also pretty good.
Free tier 2 tower. There's nothing they can do about it. Faceless Void has still Chronosphere up and ready, so they can take the fight. There's tier 1 tower standing on the top. This is the rotation that Tempo wants to make.
HR trying to buy as much time for Nyx's Spectre as possible. Climbing up the ladder a little bit, 7,000 net worth now, just lagging behind the Centaur and Invoker a touch.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
But they're grouping up from Tempo is in this top lane. All around Krillat as Funnick places out a couple of Venom wards and TPs the hell out of there. Nobody to defend the tower. Sunstrike scouting nobody but trees. And yet another free objective as Tempo take control of pretty much the entire map.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Oh, this is a nice item for Invoker. Clumsy net, so you can keep people inside the meteor. And also Tusk cannot use Snowball.
Oh, that's a good point. Nice blink dodge. DK away from the tornado. And the tier 1 tower, 80 HP. Could just get denied. Tempo not worried particularly about it just yet.
I'm getting the same feelings from the game number 1 where Hellraisers just want to farm. They need to catch up, but they have, you know, Faceless Void. They have Invoker who's getting closer to the Aghanim Scepter. So it's a bit of a different game. And Tempo in this game can actually make aggressive rotations.
Radiant's middle tower has been denied.
They spot out a Radiant Courier bottom, but they don't see Mitch just yet until now. Dire Observer Ward right above his head. But yeah, it looks like Hellraiser's not too bothered about going in on a Centaur. Like you're saying, they'd much rather just pressure an objective that they can freely shove, keep the Spectre farming bottom. Oh, the DK's Dragon form has worn out.
Rush dropping low quickly, so that's gonna be Aegis for your Faceless Void. Hellraisers, they're not even aware about this one.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, either not aware about it or realizing that they probably can't go and fight into it. Invoker halfway to Ags now. Cataclysm is coming. And when you pair that up with the Chronosphere, Tempo's teamfight abilities become amplified tremendously as King R is just immediately snapped up with a Blink Stomp from Centaur. Didn't even need the backup of the Dark Willow, really.
I might be wrong here, Gary, but I don't think I've seen a False Promise being used yet.
I don't believe so. It's been a real rough one. Chasing Enchantress. She's level 10. Reasonably tanky, honestly. And the move in onto the Tusk comes. They got the roots and the stuns. Lil. No one's going to Lil you alone. Chasing from Mitch. As it looks like they're also going to try and go in onto this Spectre who's haunting around, jumping back and forth, but Nyx is picked off by that double edge. And the Sunstrike just missing. Lil is escaping, but no blink on Centaur means he will be able to wander off.
So they left Tusk and went for a bigger target instead, also forcing Spectre to use the Haunt there. It seems like Tempo will pick up 4 bounty runes on top of that.
And a kill onto Funnick. He was deep behind enemy lines in the Radiant Triangle, and we've got Tempo having a 10,000, 11,000 now net worth lead. Still holding onto the Aegis for a good 3.5 minutes. Faceless Void will have Mantis Style done in a second. And all of the pieces of this puzzle coming together nicely. As Hellraisers still need more time. They want this Spectre to get online. Dragon Knight, it doesn't feel like he's really had much of an impact this game. But once he's got BKB, potentially you've got that big, strong teamfight initiator just to jump into the mix and find the catch onto the Void. Now
Faceless
into the
Void.
Dire Triangle.
Yeah, very low on mana, has Chronosphere up, and that Aegis. Once again,
Cyclone
they
on
found Tusk. Yeah, he's very dead. Root
Sure is.
mechanic against Tusk. Very effective.
Yules into Tornado, into kill on Funnick, who was hiding in the trees. 18-6. This is all a really one-way street here. Tempo just cruising to victory.
Aghanim Scepter completed on Invoker, Cataclysm, with Faceless Void, Chronosphere. Oracle already struggled, like his positioning was not the greatest in this game, a bit late with the TP rotations. Now, if he gets caught inside a Chronosphere or just a hoof stomp, he's dead.
Straight up dead. Dragon Knight trying his hardest. He's pushed this top lane with his armlet all the way out, but it looks like high ground time is here. Tempo with a catapult wave and a big juicy wave at that. Coming up towards the tier 3, nice glyph. Keeps the creeps alive. And Krillat still with an Aegis for a minute and a half. Emboldened and feeling there's nothing he can do wrong at this moment. Might even consider just jumping and chronoing a Spectre if he sees her. For now, not going to go for Funnick or King R. As a lane of Barracks, it's just being shredded here. There's nothing that Hellraisers can or want to do, and they're getting jumped on. Straight onto the Funnick Venno. Dead for 45 seconds. And Hellraisers, they've got King R in the fountain. Lil is cutting waves down bottom lane, trying to cut their losses, mitigate as much of this pushing strength that Tempo are shoving towards them. But 23 minutes in, they've taken down 2 lanes of Barracks.
Hellraisers might just call this game if they want to take any fights. These are 2 set of Raxes. There it is. I mean, I know Hellraisers. I've seen them play, and I know when they're going to GG out.
Oh, Cataclysm, Sani's dead up top. Spectre has haunted in towards the mid lane, but GG has already been called. It's it's just over.
It is. They never try to fight back, you know. Dragonite last pick didn't make any rotations. If they decided to go for a different kind of a hero that kind of threatens the Invoker, this way he had all the free farm. You know, Dragonite's gonna farm, Invoker's gonna farm, but at the end of the day, I think Invoker's the one who's gonna be much more happy about it.
Yeah, 10-1-6, Noob had perfect game. All the Sunstrikes in that early game looked incredibly good. Hellraisers, game 2, just didn't show up to play. Not in the groove. We'll find out though. Game 3 coming up in a little bit, and we'll see as we're all tied up which way it's going to swing. This is, don't forget, do or die. 1 loss here from either side, and they are out. So we'll catch you guys after the break.
And now I've come to claim life. Never let it go. These wings carry me. Live this fantasy. Running through the fire, gonna let it burn. I'm the Messiah, gonna let it burn. Running through the fire, gonna let it burn. I'm the Messiah, gonna let it burn.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
To empty out the mouth, the chosen one they call. I take my plan with me. Know about it if you tell, know you're breaking codes. What your credibility and all fall like dominoes. Can you really take the stands? All I wanna know. Need me real ones when it's time to go. Stepping in, elevator. This is to all the haters. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up. I found out I'm not alone. 'Cause I'm just like you. We are fearless when we fight and not afraid to. Level up! All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up! All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up. Even when it's so sweet, I end up seeing red. Is it such a ghostly revelation? I may have fucked up all my chances. Yeah. And we ain't sleeping on the floor again. We never sleeping on the floor again. For the ones who didn't make it out, for the ones that didn't see the light, for the ones that never cared, never gave a thought, found no happiness in that brand new car or the house you bought. I see you talking about the love you lost, and it was gone like way before you ever thought it was. Yeah, I took my time, no quick ones, quick run, quick gas to get back there. Hot roads, I didn't think I'd come back fast, 'cause I was right. preach. Cause I've been burning trees and watching fall. If we cannot be that, we go forward. Sure, I was searching for cure, fishing a little wildlife. And when I'm low on fuel, I'll still be running till my back broke. Halfway, lost hope and I'll check it. Hard roads, I didn't think I'd come back fast. 'Cause I was running so many
Hello everyone and welcome back here to ESL 1 Germany. That was a dominant victory there from Tempo, getting it done in roughly over 20 minutes up against Hellraisers and keeping themselves alive here for ESL 1 Germany in the Swiss group stages. And now the panel's back here to break down that entire game for you guys. Wasn't much of a game there for you guys to break down. It was only 20 minutes long, so give me what you got.
Do we have to?
Yes, you have to.
I don't know. It felt like it was still a draft win, honestly, for Hellraisers. They just didn't execute it anywhere near enough as they should have, and just so many mistakes coming out of that laning stage.
I don't know where to start, honestly. Just laning execution, the Oracle getting stomp range, which sets up for the Sunstrike.
How do you get in stomp range, really? Like, I can understand maybe going for a range creep with your Purifying Flames, but I didn't see too many of that happening, you know? And it was just feeding kills into this Invoker, which meant that he just had that much of an easier lane. You know, as a Dragon Knight, you're pretty confident that you're going to be able to take the enemy's mid-tier 1 tower, but never happened because he had all of this surplus gold just from getting, I think it was 3 Sunstrikes in the first 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, I just felt like this is a game where they shouldn't really be thinking too much about, because it's just really coming down from execution. Either it be mechanical in the laning phase or just not really understanding where they should be after the laning phase went. I mean, at one point they reacted to the gank where DK died and then they just got team wiped at middle lane, which was very unexpected. And Spectre, even though he had a decent time, the Centaur got way too much. Invoker got way too much as well because of the Sunstrike kills, as you mentioned. And the game plan was just not there anymore after that pretty terrible start from Hellraisers.
I mean, I don't remember seeing much, like, there might have been one good haunt, if that. I don't think there was a false promise that went out the entire game, which, you know, that's some real downside to the positioning coming there from King R. And Funnick, he was just getting picked off everywhere around the map, and he wasn't doing anything to stop this Faceless Void from farming. Sure, you might not get the most yourself out of the lane, but that's not your job. Your job is to make sure that this win condition has as little impact as possible, and the Void, even with some whiffed chronos, still had a lot of right-click impact.
Yeah, it's just such an awkward game. I mean, I don't think they both perform extremely well. Well, obviously Hellraisers played quite poorly in the early game especially, but the Invoker played pretty damn good. I mean, he was really on point with those Sunstrikes. He got a lot of setups as well, combined with his Cyclone. But, I mean, it just seemed pretty easy to play once they got that early laning phase, because they just had to rely on the Faceless Void to start up the fights. They had Centaur, who was also really rich because he had an early Blink Dagger from the laning phase. It just enabled the Invoker to do a lot more than he should have.
Yeah, it feels like one of those games where, you know, occasionally you have them where everything just clicks for your team, right? Like the enemy team, you're a really strong hero in that situation, but they don't focus you, or they just allow you to do whatever the hell you want. And it was very much that from Tempo. They must have felt really lucky with this Invoker, like, man, you know, I've gone this greedy Exort build, you know, it's a lot harder to build up into these early teamfight items, but you're getting multiple kills from the mid lane. You know, you're very happy to go with that.
Yeah, and especially because of the position that they picked this Invoker in, right? You guys talked about it a lot. You wanted something that can really abuse this Invoker. And yeah, Dragon Knight might be okay in that mid lane, as you said, you know, might be able to take that tower every so often, but it gets to a point where this Invoker is just going to have a free time because he's not getting shut down. And then we've seen it in a lot of these games. You either punish the greed or you get punished by the greed. And this is what happened here for Hellraisers. They didn't deal with this Invoker, got that early drums build up, went into the hand of Midas, and then even if this game went for another 20, 15 minutes or something like that, his Invoker was going to scale extremely well.
Yeah, now what I'm wondering is, what's the coach saying from Hellraiser's perspective? That's really...
Put me back in, boys. That's what he's saying. Are we going to see, you know, another position 5 coming through? I'm not sure if they're even allowed to do that, but still, it's... I don't know. King R, I think he just needs to really reflect on his positioning in the lane. You can't be getting caught out that many times and feeding away that much of a lead so early on into it when you've got a Tusk lineup. Like, For all intents and purposes, Lil did everything that he could from that pause 4 role. He was part of all 6 of their kills. He was trying to make these rotations, but when you're giving away that early laning stage net worth lead, you can't really do that much with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just nothing he can really do. And I feel the same as well with the Dragon Knight. I mean, sure, he's a passive mid laner who's going to get a lot from the mid lane, especially since the Invoker can't really bully him out. But I mean, it was one of those situations where he didn't even go Coswex, as I was mentioning in the panel before, pre-draft. So he just stood in the lane, never really got those openings for the DK to actually push mid lane. Obviously, the Invoker was happy to just trade farm and then utilizing Sunstrikes to get kill.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe that's one of the things they've adapted. They flexied straight away. Is they acknowledge that we're versing a Dragon Knight middle. I can't do the standard Coswex as Thompson would and make these kills happening, but I can make it happen regardless of leaving the lane or not. I can just use my Sunstrike to dominate the top lane with the Centaur Stomps.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go back to that last pick overall. Like, they went with the Dragon Knight. Doom still was much better pick. You know, you're going to win these team fights by getting rid of the Faceless Void or the Oracle. And on top of that, when you pick a Tusk, we've seen it in previous games. He roams around with someone like a Riki, someone that can actually do this right-click damage. Venomancer doesn't really want to be roaming all that much. His job's to stay in the lane and prevent the Faceless Void from farming. And Dragon Knight, he's very much restricted by that Elder Dragon form cooldown, whereas a Doom, you don't need the Doom to have that same level of impact. You just need your Scorched Earth up online, and that's a much lower cooldown.
All right, lads, moving forward here for Hellraisers, how do they mentally reset?
Get that potion.
It's a pretty demoralizing loss. Like, I'm going to be perfectly honest here. 23 minutes is a bit of a stomping there coming in from Tempo. So how do you pull back here? They've only got a couple of minutes between the start of game number 3. Like, how do you pull this back? Because they looked pretty strong in that first game. In the second game, they didn't look like they were in that first game. How do you mentally reset? Is it just a group hug? Like, what does everyone do here?
Maybe this is Lil's plan. He's still number 3 in the MVP voting, and he's like, I got to bring every series to 3 games. I got to get all that exposure for me. Who knows? Maybe,
but like they still need to start working towards a situation where they can get this series victory, right? Because if they're out of this, then Lil, he's got no more games, mate. You got no more games after this if you lose this. So he still needs to win it.
He does. I don't know. Like, that's one of those games where it's just like, look, we're better off forgetting about it. Just put it completely out of our minds. It wasn't Hellraiser's Dota. See what we can do in the next one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those things where it's pretty obvious where they went wrong, right? So it's not something that they should be talking about to fix. It's like, okay, we just played so badly this game. This is not the usual stuff. Let's go into the next game like we did in the first game, and let's just take the win. That's it.
Just take the win?
Just take the win.
It seems like he was back on the paddle. Just take the win.
Don't lose forehead.
Just don't lose the important heroes in those team fights. But is there anything to do with the draft? Going into these 2 games, you guys touched on the Dragon Knight a little bit. Is there anything that could have kind of rectified the mistakes they made?
I mean, we did give better options. I think the Rikimara and the Doom would have been way better, especially because you apply more pressure with the Rikimara in the laning phase, and it's still a really good hero for the game, and you can play around with the Tusker as well.
And they play the Doom, and they don't play the Dragon Knight all that much, you know? It fits their style, it fits what they're used to. They would be scrimming with it. Obviously, maybe they scrim with the DK, and we just can't see it, obviously, but I don't know. It just feels a little crazy to me.
All right, lads. Well, you know what else is pretty crazy? Me being a sick question master. So, lads, it is time again for us to do a little bit of panel trivia. This is an exciting one. Darcy, you were in the first one, weren't you?
I was.
No, I don't think so.
No, he was.
Nah.
Was he?
No.
Darcy said he was.
No, I didn't say I was.
Yes, you did.
Was I?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Ask us the question.
I have a pretty small brain, but all right, lads. So it's time for our trivia here. So once again, this is all about our hero voice line. So what you guys have to do,
I was. Okay.
You guys have to give me the hero that says this voice line, and for an extra point, if you guys can tell me how this gets triggered, you know, whether or not it's like a room picking up or them killing a hero, meeting a hero, whatever. All right, you guys ready? All right, let's throw it up on the screen. Let's see what our first one is here. You have a seat just right over there and let the smart people talk. This is me coming onto the panel.
Me to you.
No, this is me to you, Matt. This is how this works. It's my trivia. This is me to you. But that's not the answer. So what do we got here? I got my nice little answer sitting on my little palm card here.
I mean, is it Invoker? He's a bit of an egomaniac, so maybe he's going to say that sort of thing. I don't play much Invoker, I'll be perfectly honest, so I wouldn't know all of his... Is it a common voice line? Or is it like...
I'm not telling you that.
Oh, come on.
This is the same thing with the last trivia. You guys are like, is this an easy item build? You guys have to figure that out. You guys are the smart people, apparently, on the panel.
I don't know if this applies to intelligence, to be honest, just recognizing the voices, but...
I was going to put on voices for these as well, but then I thought maybe if I started doing that, you guys would think that that's going to pertain to a hero.
No, go on.
Go on.
I'm not going to do a voice for
Go
this.
on. You scared?
No,
Or
I don't want
us?
to do it. You guys are putting me on the spot. Just sit right over there and let the smart people work.
Is it how that person talks?
I don't know, is it? I'm not giving
I'm
you
just
guys
saying
easy
Invoker. I'm
ones.
saying Invoker.
You're going to say
Yeah,
Invoker?
I'd say it's some Intel hero.
You are correct. It is an Intel hero.
Well,
I'll give you that.
is it Invoker?
No, it's not Invoker.
Okay. Well, okay. I've got one
You
down.
can have it. You can have an extra one here, Matt, because I
Can't be Zeus, can it? Or Tinker?
Could be
Who would
Tinker.
say this? Who wants to be smart? Who talks about
Ogre
being
Magi.
smart? You think
Silencer?
it's Ogre Magi? You think it's Silencer?
Let's chuck it on.
Oh, you guys are both sucked. This is from Techies. This is a Techies voice line, boys. So
Well,
the
that's
interesting-
why I don't know it.
Yeah, same.
The
Garbage
interesting
hero.
thing with this voice line, a little bit of trivia for this one. This is his platinum tier voice line, and it is also what he says to Ogre Magi when he kills him.
So I was kind of right. I said
No,
Ogre.
you were completely wrong. Because Ogre Magi is the dumb person, and Techies is the smart person. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's his platinum tier voice line. So all those Techie spammers out there would have known that one, but fortunately, you guys don't.
I am very happy that I don't know that one, actually.
Yeah, same.
It's one of the few times where I'm happy to be wrong because screw that hero, honestly.
Well, you guys are 0 from 2 so far, so hopefully you guys can improve a little bit there on my trivia so I don't feel so sad about myself. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, fingers crossed that Hellraisers don't feel so sad about that demoralizing loss there as we go to game number 3 here between Tempo and Hellraisers. Be a short break, and we'll see you after it.
Let's take our time right now. It's just a vibe with you. I feel alive now. I'm feeling like hard to define. Will it stand the test of time right now? I need a sign. Tell me if it's over. Come a little closer. We should take our time to think this damn thing over. Should we grow closer? Should this be over? My heart for your mind. Probably we should start over. Tell me if it's over. Am I your lover? Are we going solo? Or is it polo? Her face is saying don't go. I'm acting like I don't know. Whisper my name. Say what you want, show me your thoughts. I do the same. My breath on your neck while I slowly caress. Feelings in gray. It's still the same. Tell me if it's over. Come a little closer. We should take our time to think this damn thing over. Should we grow closer? Should this be over? My heart for your mind. Probably we should start over. Or is it polo? Her face is saying don't go. I'm acting like I don't know. Tell me if it's over. Come a little closer.
I can see everyone in chat is much smarter than my panelists here, being able to get the correct answer for my trivia. Unfortunately for my panelists, they still have to be here and analyze drafts all throughout the day. Maybe we'll get someone in from chat to give us actual professional analysis. My guys
of techies.
Of techies. But either way,
I'm glad I'm going
here.
after this game.
You're going to have to come back, Darcy. That's the thing.
Yeah, true. Later on.
At least you get a series to have a little bit of redemption, a little bit of thoughts.
Yeah.
But lads, game number 3 draft is underway and we're getting ready to jump into it. But Tempo versus Hellraisers, 1 map away from either one of these teams leaving us here for ESL 1 Germany. So far, all right, I'm just going to let you guys talk about it. I was going to ask some questions, but nah, they're already answered on the screen, boys.
It's fine, it's fine. Enchantress again. I mean, game number 2 was not King R, it was King No R, as coined by Lacoste to me in a few PMs that we're having. But Enchantress, luckily enough, untouchable. You don't even need to use your ultimates. So getting a little lucky there.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first game they've got Ench, right, out of the 3 games that's been picked. Obviously, seems like Tempo is really rating that Centaur after that great performance he had in the offlane. But this hero should have came last game. This Doom pick, honestly. This should have been the hero in the last pick, or even the Rikimara, where I feel like they're so confident playing these heroes, especially all the CIS teams. I see no reason why they shouldn't be taking it, especially since they can flex it middle as well as offlane.
Yep.
Just gives them more kind of options and a bit more kind of a mind game, because you don't know exactly where he's going, so you don't really know how you want to pick into it.
You've secured your early game already. That's the big thing for Hellraisers, right? Doom Enchantress are always going to be really strong, have some nice aggressive timings, and you've got that extra movement speed as well on the end. So you shouldn't get caught with any sort of stomps coming through from the Centaur. On the other side, though, Tempo, it's a little bit slower. Like, yes, you can have a decent amount of impact as a Marana once you hit, like, level 5. Just good amount of damage AoE from Starstorm. Arrow is just as good in terms of the stun duration at all levels. And, I mean, Centaur probably a little bit less so. If you have a rough start in the laning phase, then it becomes very hard for you to come back. So I'm thinking here from Hellraisers that they're just going to try and bully the Centaur as much as possible. You've already got the Enchantress to be able to do it. Now it's just about what else can you pick. They're not going to be able to have the lifesteal with that one already being removed in the first phase by Tempo.
Yeah, the other thing as well to mention is since they opened up, it's pretty clear it's going to be a 3-4, the Centaur as well as the Marana. So you already know what you're going into the match, and you haven't picked your carry, so you can just ideally pick your carry depending on the matchup, which is really good for Hellraisers. As you mentioned, they already have a very strong position 5 here that can allow them to already apply pressure. And, I mean, at this point in time, I shouldn't be too worried for Hellraisers, because if they want to later pick their hero, they can, and they should just play for lane dominance heroes. Not as the carry, but for the position 4, because for the next pick, if they were to opt to go for something that can be flexy or even just a solid position 4, they still have to keep guessing where the Doom's gonna go, so you can't really just pick your carry as Tempo to deal with their supposedly pos 3 or pos 2 Doom. And at this point in time, they need some setups. I'm wondering if they're actually going to go back for that Invoker, because, I mean, he played extremely well.
He did. I think we're going to see something like a Grimstroke coming out from Hellraisers. It pairs really well together with the Doom, obviously, just the Soulbind. If you get the Soulbind onto the Centaur as well, you use the Stampede, you need to have a lot of solid communication with whoever you're linked to, because you can't just run in opposite directions. You're going to be stuck together and getting not that much use out of it. It's something that they play in the position 4 role a fair amount as well. So Lil, he's no stranger to having that, especially if you compare it together with a Doom. You've already got a lot of movement speed. You're going to get a lot of good ink swells off too.
Let's see how Hellraisers is going to demonstrate their third pick, because right now they can make it revealing where the Doom is going to go. It's pretty clear that the Treant's going to be played as a position 5 hero, so ideally they play a hero Tempo, that is, that can utilize that laning dominance to play a hard carry. Heroes like Morphling would be really good, even though it's annoying to deal with Doom, but your lane's going to be pretty free. Ooh, Magnus, okay.
Bit slow.
Yeah, I'm not a fan because Tempo tends to play pretty fast in both games we've seen. Game 1, they played that Drow lineup. Game 2, they played that Invoker strong lane dominance to utilize the Sunstrikes. So third game is going to be pretty similar playstyle, I'd assume, and they go for the Terrorblade, which they already have.
By the way.
Yep, I like this because right now it seems like they're going to be able to win the lane in the safe lane with the Treant Protector as the position 5, and then with the Terrorblade, you can still just use your Metamorphosis to siege those early towers. If you fall behind, you always have that ability to jungle, so you're not in a position where you're in a time.
We haven't seen that much of the Monkey King, you know, coming out a little different. I think we might have seen it once or twice.
I think we have seen it once or twice, yeah.
Having a look at the Chinese region, they're playing it first pick every single time. It's a really strong hero at this point, and I'm kind of surprised that we haven't got into it that much just yet. You know, its laning has become a lot stronger since getting a lot more armor. It's not quite as strong into that late game, but still, you can just get those early timings, get an early ags, and really there's not too much the enemy team can do about it. So
the one thing I'm worried about right now is this tree is going to get a lot of value as a pick because the only way you take towers as Hellraisers is by starting fights, getting kills, and then taking the tower. If that doesn't happen, you just can't push into the living armor, you can't push into the grass. Terrorblade's going to just be splitting and farming in the jungle, and if you can't trade effectively, it's just going to get to the late game where Tempo is just going to shine with this lineup. Yeah. And I'm a little worried.
Interestingly enough, lads, with this Monkey King, Hellraisers were the ones that picked it up.
Oh.
They lost to Viking GG in that game. They were playing against the Invoker and a Faceless Void and a Bloodseeker. They had Rubik, Magnus, Alchemist, Monkey, and Beastmaster.
I mean, that just sounds like a weird draft overall. I can see why they lost.
Well, I mean, they're the team that's picked it up. So, you know, as you said, Chinese region seems to like the Monkey King quite a lot, and see if Hellraisers can pull out a victory.
Well, what I'm wondering now is where's the Magnus going to go?
Yeah, well, I mean, they most commonly play it for Funnick. It doesn't really feel like a good lane for the POS 3 to have it. They also play it mid and POS 4. I don't think it's good as a POS 4
POS 4 is going to be way too slow.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen a game where a position 4 mag has won, or even position 5 in this tournament. And this is a game where there's no Rubik, and I don't even think they care about it either. They just have to focus on doing well in the laning phase, Tempo that is.
Yep.
And they have a very good win condition late game. Even if Hellraisers can kind of escalate their farm utilizing Empower, if they don't win lanes, if they don't get those fights that they really need to take towers, there's just not going to be enough space on the map for them to farm. And I'm a little worried right now because Hellraisers needs that kind of hero that can just go in, just start fights, just create the tempo and allow them to kind of set the pace of the game, like in the first game where they had the Night Stalker mid, and he really just set the pace in the early to the mid-game transition.
I'll be honest, I'm a little surprised that Hellraisers has gone and banned out the Zeus themselves. I thought that might have been an okay way for them to round out their draft, because you're going up against a Terrorblade, and really, outside of the Stampede, how are they going to get onto your backlines and deal with you? You've got a Doom who's relatively tanky on the front lines, Monkey King pops the Wukongs, and he gets a lot of extra armor. So it's a little weird for me. They just go back for the Willow one more time.
Well, this is Hellraisers now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, last game I was so sure Hellraisers would have 2-0'd. And now I'm looking at Hellraisers lineup.
Easy 2-0, I believe.
Yeah,
was
easy 2-0. Should have been an easy 2-0.
The exact quote. But now, you guys were talking on the fact that, you know, you don't really see this being a good Magnus position 3 game. Does that mean that Funnick is going to have to take that dude and they put it on Sani in the mid lane, try and create a little bit of tempo with a Magnus?
There's no guarantees because it can still be a Doom mid, MK carry, and Magnus off lane with the Dark Willow. There's definitely a lot of flexibility with all 3 of the core heroes that Hellraiser have picked. Until we actually see who's actually playing what, then we're going to know for sure who's going to be where. But that's a good thing for Hellraisers going right now because Tempo is probably thinking the same lines. They don't know who's going to go where. They're probably going to be basing it on the previous games or statistics from who's been playing certain heroes. But realistically, in the CIS region, they tend to play the Doom middle more so than not. So, I mean, that's one of them. And I don't think they would put the MK mid without seeing the actual matchup because Tempo still needs to play the mid laner, right? They haven't picked that yet. So, I mean, for Tempo here, I already like their lineup. They have a very easy win condition in the later stages if it gets there. They just really have to dominate that offlane because they have a Mirana Centaur, which might be hard if they're versing the MK. But at the same time, having the Stomp plus the Arrow, I still think they'll do fine. And just looking at how they open up with the Centaur, it feels like they're very confident on this hero to actually pick it in the first phase.
But who are they catching is my thing. Like, Enchantress, really, you've got a ton of movement speed. You shouldn't get caught by this
what
stuff.
about the Orkolos?
He doesn't have as much movement speed as the Edge, you know? DP,
I like it.
More push.
I really like it.
Yeah.
It's strong in the lane, despite the fact that it's going to be up against a Magnus, a Doom, or an MK. It's going to do very well.
Against the Doom.
And it's not going to be affected by Doom in the later stages because you just pop your Exorcism first of all, right? So it's a hero that solves that. It's got a lot of push. It's got a lot of presence in the mid game. They can take objectives with this. I like Tempo's lineup a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say Tempo as well. Partially because, you know, I've really enjoyed the interviews that we've been having with LeBron. You want to see them get a bit of success, a bit of belief.
So you don't like the interviews with Phonic then?
No, they've been really good as well. But
come on, man.
You want to go for the underdog, right?
You got to be spicy. You got to have one favorite or another, man. And speaking of favorites, predictions, lads. Need a name. Need
Underdog
a team name.
Tempo, not the Overcat in Hellraisers. And you've got the Christmas tree on LeBron with his nice
Please
little
don't ever say
cosmetic.
Overcat ever again.
I'm trying to not be biased with the players itself, but I really like Tempo's lineup. They're just... I mean, in the previous game, I really liked Hellraiser's lineup, and I thought they'd 2-0. They didn't, but I'm going to go with Tempo.
All right, maybe the panel curse could be real here. It was pretty real for ESL 1 Thailand. Let's see if it continues on for ESL 1 Germany. And for the final time, we were going to be seeing one of these teams, Tempo or Hellraisers. And for the final time today, we're going to head it over to Gareth and Lacoste.
Thanks, guys. That's right. Here we are, Game 3. It is decider time as one of the balances hangs in the line here. Lacoste, the panel, potentially cursing one of these teams. Are you going to add into that? Who are you going for?
I like the way they started this show. I mean, the first couple of days were so good. You know, Team Secret plays against some lower tier team. Team Secret's gonna win. Then they brag how they're good they are at their predictions. 100% prediction rate, guys. After game number 1, we're so good. And now, you know, things are starting to show a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna go with them. Tempo. They have a sick lineup, and this is a lineup that has pretty much everything. You have a good way to start a team fight. You have ways of dealing damage to the towers. Roche taking is there. TB plus Dead Prophet. I like Centaur as a response to Doom, where you can just use Centaur ulti, run away. They don't have the best catch. Whenever you have Doom in the team, you need to have like a lot of stuns. You need to have heroes who are speedy. Monkey King is that hero, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. So primarily target for Doom should be Centaur in most of the fights.
Just to stop the Stampede from coming out?
Yes, because in this type of a game, when Centaur's playing against Doom, he's not going to be using Stampede aggressively. Just wants to have it if they don't like that, let's say, TB got doomed. And there's also a good hero against the Doom in this game, and that's Treant Protector with the Living Armor. Mouse problem. Seems like every single game there is a problem for one of the teams, either lag or mouse problems.
The tactical pause at the start.
Ventrilo, yeah. My Ventrilo's not working, guys. Back
My
in
mumble's
2010.
broken. Man, you know, I'm kind of happy we haven't used things like that in a while. Skype, Ventrilo, Mumble, it's all been overtaken.
Yeah, Renat, that's actually King R's name. That's what R stands for.
Ah, is that what it actually stands for?
Yes,
right.
sir.
Very clever. Yeah, I think I'm a big fan of this last pick, DP. Like you were mentioning at the end of the draft, it really does round everything out. Allows you to kind of cycle between your Metamorphosis and Exorcism to take objectives, Roshan, towers, whatever it might be. She also brings you that AoE silence, which, you know, against Monkey King and Magnus could be the undoing, as you're super reliant on an RP as your primary form of team fight and your initiation as Hellraisers.
Yep.
And then you've got this Stampede to save TB, Stampede to save DP. You've got Living Armor from the Treant. So many ways to buff up and keep these frontline active heroes alive. I think I'm also leaning towards Tempo myself.
If you ask someone, like, the name 4 abilities of that Prophet, I think in 99% the silence would be the last ability, because that's the kind of an underrated ability that you don't think of. But just having 1 point in silence, it's a 3-second AoE silence.
Yeah, and a pretty big one as well.
This is something that changes the whole team fight if you land it on a correct hero.
I mean, even like a year ago, we were seeing, I think it was Miposhka trying like position 5 DP with Spirit Siphon and Silence, kind of skipping out on Crypt Swarm, running around and winning team fights just with, what is it, 425 radius on the AoE circle. What do we pause for now, Lacoste? Because I saw them resume and then pause again.
Seems like it might not be the mouse. Maybe it's King R after all, as LeBron stated. I mean, some of these players are very good friends. You know, you play with them in public games. You played with them in a team. Didn't work out. Another go. Seems like we're ready. Players are ready. Okay,
underway.
I like what Tempo's doing. I think Hellraisers should try to do the same thing. This is something that higher caliber teams are trying to do. When they see TB, you kill him. You bring 3 heroes to the lane where Terrorblade is, and just try to kill him during the meta. But Tempo will try to do the same thing. Like, it's a lot of slow. Centaur already got the hoof stomp.
Yeah, Nature's Grasp, hoof stomp, arrow. Lots of ways to catch a hero as they all shift up towards top. Well, this is something that Tempo often like to do as well. You know, start that tri lane, then shift the more supporting hero down bottom to help out their position 1. So Monkey King up top for now, scouts out the Centaur. Mitch pretty far forward. DNZ Mirana up there with LeBron and Noob's DP also lurking around in the northern part of the map. While Terrorblade scouting out Funnick, who is deforesting the right side of the map, skewering twice, I believe, already.
That's a third
Breaking
time.
a lot of trees. Third. Oh, wow.
And he also used Quelling Blade to cut down some of the extra trees, so Treant Protector can't approach. They see it's Treant Protector 5, so they know he's going to be paired up with the Terrorblade on the bottom lane.
And they also get a ward down in that deeper jungle, so they'll be able to see the kind of shifting movements of the Mirana, as well as the high ground ward up towards their mid tower. Mirana's going to have a pretty difficult time, DNZ, to maneuver away from this top lane into more active areas with her arrows. Tempo still keeping 3 up top. You've got your mid DP against Doom. Going to be pretty boring for the most part the first couple of minutes. I think Krillat's Terrorblade just going to hide behind tower, so we'll keep eyes on that top lane where Nyx is Monkey King. He's toying with the idea of going for creeps. Arrow connect, beautiful from DNZ. In we go onto the Monkey. Nyx is going to try and mischief his way out, but first blood, yet again, grabbed up by DNZ, and now Trid go down bottom to help out his TB.
And this is the lane that's going to go well for Tempo. They already started with the first blood, of course, but if Enchantress takes a creep, Mirana's just going to arrow it.
Just like that. Get rid of those big creeps. Good right clicks there from King R. I don't think DNZ is too bothered by it. And already Centaur 7-1 against the Monkeys 3-0 CS. It looks like it's another beautiful start to a game as Mitch is looking for the Enchantress. She gets out her Nature's Attendance, heals back up to full.
And now she's out of mana. This is the second time she's using Nature Attendance. It's, I think it's the highest costing spell in the game, level 1, 170.
A nice little play onto the Treant down bottom. Pressuring Krillat as well, as Lil was just chasing Treant around behind the creep wave. Terrorblade can farm under tower, and he's got plenty of regen there to sustain himself. Also meeting up the creep waves, so Funnick can't drag it back and reset lane equilibrium a little closer to his tier 1. And Nyx really isn't having a good time. Can't really get close to creep wave. He's trying to boundless strike to
bottom lane. Krillat will
CS,
go
and
down.
they are going on the Terrorblade. The Shadow Realm.
They lost the vision.
It's held on too long. Lil has to launch it onto LeBron.
It was a nice play. First Bramble connected, then skewer into another Bramble just to keep him in place. But, you know, Terrorblade, for some reason, has 13 armor plus 1 extra.
DP. Laying it on thick in that mid lane. CSing very well. About a wave and a half. Oh, hello. Found the strike top lane. Nyx just about snipes out with the Mirana thanks to the Jingu stacks he built up. A good little swing in momentum there for Hellraisers. And now they can pressure Mitch away from the creep wave for the first time this laning phase.
That should definitely not happen. That's Mirana with Boots of Speed with the First Blood. Enchantress didn't even have a point in enchant there, so I'm not sure how he died. I was just watching the bottom lane.
Yeah, just saw Mirana's health drop quickly. Bottom, like you're talking about. Both teams trading pretty evenly. Terrorblade's farm not suffering a great amount. And Treant is definitely struggling to stay in the lane, though. That early move by Funnick, cutting down so many trees with Skewer, Quelling Blade. There's nowhere for LeBron to play from. He's just spamming out Nature's Grasp, trying to secure the creep wave here for Krillat.
Terrorblade's farming nicely. 15 and 5. LeBron's doing whatever he can. You mentioned the tree cutting, but still, decent CS and decent levels on TB. Level 4 for miss in.
Pull into the large camp. Mirana with the DD rune secures King R and might even loop in towards mid. Xani's been slowed down and there's another Spirit Siphon here. Maybe a bottle charge for Noob can allow them to keep this chase going. Xani's Scorched Earth is about to end and DNZ just leaps on forward. They're diving past tier 1. Fairy Fire, not enough. Noob with a double null.
That double damage. Securing 2 kills. That's why it's so important to check the runes. Enchantress did not have enchant there to actually purge it off.
Look where Mirana is now. DNZ has made a long walk from top lane, gets a kill, mid lane gets a kill. He wants the hat trick. He wants to find someone down bottom, and with that arrow onto the Dark Willow, Nature's Grasp to slow her down. Skewer away from the bounty rune. Funnick gets it still. And Dark Willow will survive, throws out a Bramble Maze for good measure. Mirana thinking about giving chase up to high ground for the other bounty.
Middle tower is under attack.
Won't be able to go for it too deep, though.
Problem is they had no damage that goes into Shadow Realm. DP will pick up Bounty Rune on her side, refill some mana. Exorcism is online, and Catapult as well. Well, not for long. Doom just ate it. Arrow? Never mind.
It's a range creep. Well, Mitch has made a lane for himself elsewhere. He's dragging creep waves around now. Doesn't want to straight up lane against the Monkey King, who does naturally counteract that melee offlaner.
Mitch is in trouble. Mitch is actually dead.
Going for him, and the Doom's coming as well. You're right. Looks like Mitch 6 feet under in a second. Burnt down by the Scorched Earth of Doom.
Well, no wonder his name is Xani. K-S-Ani. Stole the kill with the Scorched Earth.
How much damage does it do? A piddly amount. 30 damage. That's all it took to steal it. King R with a good deep observer ward here as well. Going to be scouting out where the TB loves to farm. As we see the shift from bottom lane westwards. Krillat is migrating. Along with all of his illusions. Triple Wraith Band TB. What's your saying, Lacoste, when someone buys Triple Wraith Band? What?
He's a tryhard. He wants to win that game. If you buy more than 2 Wraith Bands on hero like TB, Ricky, like, you know, stuff's serious. Arrow still available.
Lil's gonna snipe a courier on his way out. Shadow Realm Arrow connects to finish off the Dark Willow. Seems pretty worth it for Lil, though. Gets a courier, forces heroes into that area, so he opens up the map for the rest of his team.
Tempo has one of the best heroes besides Vibrant to just sit on the bottom tier 1 tower, collect XP, and that's Treant Protector. They can't push. Since TB is jungling, they need a hero that can just collect the XP, try to get some CS if possible, while Mirana can play aggressively on the other lanes.
Yeah, LeBron doesn't even have a point in living armor yet. Might pick up a value point now. He's hit 4. 2 points in the Nature's Grasp, like you're saying, lets him hold back the wave, keep that tier 1 tower nice and safe. And he does, in fact, have living armor now. As an arrow hits mid, DP was on her way up towards top, though. Looks like either miscommunication or Noob just doesn't feel like they can kill the Doom regardless of what happens.
DNZ just asserting dominance. You know, I can arrow you anytime I want, so you need to be careful, and then you move to a different lane. Rune spawning in a couple of seconds. There's a rotation from Hellraiser's smoke on Krillat.
They want that TB. But again, He's so good at reading this map, realizing, you know, the fact that Mitch is in the creep wave, no one's pressuring him, means Monkey King's missing. Now, showing his face, Mitch has Stampede, and he might be forced to use it here to run away, but it looks like they want to turn and fight. With the Exorcism arriving, they net and Curse Crown the Death Prophet. Mitch is still on the back of Nyx, really getting on his case, and the arrow just hitting the creep wave as it arrives. But Noob killing off the courier with some of those little ghosties. Really wants to push forward and look for this objective. Tier 1's open for them, and it's all space for Terrorblade as he continues farming back in the jungle.
I like what Xani is doing, not putting a skill in Doom. Guys, I have Doom. Yeah, that's your hero's name. You need to get your ulti up.
And what's up with that? At least Magnus has an RP. Two-man Boundless Strike and the Primal Spring in. RP's ready, catches DP. And with the ghosts gone, that's Noob just falling so quickly as Hellraisers even up the kill score, and now the 2k lead for them in net worth coming in to doom the Centaur. They should be able to track back onto Mitch and take him down, dispatching with the four-legged man pretty quickly. As Tempo don't get the tower, don't get any kills, not even a single initiation from them.
Well, at least they're getting levels on Treant Protector on the bottom lane. He's level 6 before 10-minute mark on your position 4, which is always nice. They did not get too much out of that DP ulti. The execution was far from perfect.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, really halted in their tracks by Curse Crown and just the net from the troll as they set up top. Mitch has TP'd back to try and soak up this pretty big creep wave.
Centaur brother, what are you doing?
So many chain stuns here. Centaur with a missed skewer, though. That might be a nice little escape for Mitch to make, and LeBron even had the overgrowth, just in case.
His own kin turned against him. Centaur Conqueror against Centaur Warrunner. What's the little one called?
Corsa.
Okay.
Centaur Corsa. So Tempo, they realize, nothing happening top lane. Not going to get that tower. They see everyone from Hellraisers lurking around up there. So coming quickly in with the Metamorphosis, Terrorblade getting involved, and they're getting that tier 1 mid. But it's still looking real good. Hellraisers, 2 of the top net worth heroes. Doom has over 5k. Monkey King is closing in on that as well. Even after what it felt like a really rough early laning stage for Nyx, but he's come back tremendously.
Yeah, he's doing fine. He's second on net worth. He got those 2 kills, last hits, and was involved in another 2 kills. So everything's working out fine for him. He's going to be empowered for most of the game, so his items are going to come online a bit faster than usual. Doom still deciding whether I go for a BKB, whether I buy a Blink Dagger, but he's massive right now. Like, maxed out Devour.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And he's got that bonus armor from the Toughness Aura too. No chance for the Radiant to defend the bottom tower with a catapult wave there from Hellraisers. So they try and go for the trade. DP opting not to use Exorcism, just going to right-click it down.
And he also found one of the best tier 1 items for himself, Faded Brooch on top of Phase Boots and Drums. He's just going to be zooming in. Like, the chase potential is there with these 2 items. I still feel like getting a BKB first and then getting a Blink Dagger to set things up is much better.
Well, Treant yet again holding out on this bottom lane. Trying to bait now, it looks like. LeBron just shows his face, waving his big branchy arms. See if anyone from Hellraisers goes for the bait. But both Monkey, Magnus, even Dark Willow down here as well, the trio of heroes, not getting sucked in. As 2 TPs from Tempo, Noob, and DNZ, both looking to play reactively around the tree. Still a lot more time for the Terrorblade, though, and he's catching up. Now overtaking Monkey King, closing in on that Doom's net worth. SNY is going to be done in a couple of minutes. Centaur has Blink in 600 gold. It's a far cry from game 2. This is much more competitive as they found the Dark Willow with a nice arrow from DNZ. And Lil, who yet again was on the enemy side of the river, scouting things out and dying for it.
Only 10 kills, 13 minutes in. Still yet to see a big team fight. I guess they're just waiting one item on TB. That's the SNY you talked about, and they want to have a Blink Dagger on a Centaur so they can start things up.
And the Yules on DP just completed, so everything's synchronizing quite nicely. If they can get the items in their pockets. In a couple of minutes. Even a medallion on Treant, as he's been given a lot of room to farm.
I think we might see smoke from both sides at the same time. Looking at the items, Magnus, 100 gold away from a Blink Dagger, Doom, just 1,000 gold from BKB. So they're going to force things out. Like, they have two of the best roach-taking heroes in the game. DP and Terrorblade can connect, so they know something is up.
They absolutely do. And here comes Funnick. Close to Blink Dagger. Funnick's 100 gold away, but Noob is so low on HP. Terrorized, fake pumped by Lil. And Treant trapped in the middle of a bunch of heroes here. Gets off a good overgrowth. The focus onto Lil, so the Dark Willow down with no buyback. Trade back onto LeBron. Maybe gonna be there. One more hit, but he's under invis. Back away he goes with a skewered RP. Funnick finds the slide in, drifting forward. Age is picked up by DNZ as Roshan falls, and Noob is about to drop as well. 6 feet under, the Death Prophet collapsed upon by 4 Hellraiser's heroes. And even though Tempo got that first pick, the movement from Funnick without Blink manages to slide in all the way, wraps around, and skewers them across into the Wukongs.
It was only level 1 DP ulti, so it took them a while. Like, only 8 ghosts instead of 16. Hellraisers, they punish that. That's a pretty big deal, you know, stealing Roche from lineup that has both TB and Dead Prophet. I mean, Morana still has that Aegis, but I don't think it's going to be very effective on Morana.
That's not really where you want it, is it? Oh, arrow. Arrow? Ooh. I'm pretty sure Funnick knew the length of that arrow. He was fine. Not worrying at all.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Gotcha.
What's Monkey got coming? Nothing just yet. Oh, he's got 2,000 gold saved up as Dark Willow tries to get the Bedlam out onto the Centaur. No backup here for Mitch, so Blink Skewer in towards the Brambles. Doesn't quite get him close enough. That finishing blow of the Shockwave.
Magnus going for a bit of a different build than the usual offlaners do. Like, they don't get strength treads. They get mana boot, so they have enough mana sustain. Enchantress getting caught. Arrow will fly out and connect, so that's going to be more than enough to bring King R down.
Yeah, good little initiation. It is just the Enchantress, though. But yeah, this Magnus, we've seen plenty of mid-Magnuses get very similar builds. Doesn't look like he'll be aiming for the Echo Saber, but he's got a medallion queued up. And he's going to be sitting on like 2,000 HP, tons of armor. And he could theoretically be that frontline hero here for Hellraisers. Doesn't necessarily need to be waiting in the fog, looking for that perfect Blink RP. As a Blink stomped up, catches Dark Willow, silence from Noob to stop any kind of Shadow Realm shenanigans. And the Spirit Siphon is enough damage to find Lil.
Now we can see the reason why most of the offlane mags go for mana boots, because you need mana sustain. Sometimes in mana boots on top of bottle. Like, he's really struggling. You need to have constant clarities running, and if you use Empower, that's 90 mana. Doom popped.
Onto Centaur, yeah, they dust him up. So Moonlight Shadow unable to give that umbrella of safety for Mitch. Dominating Doom now is Kasani. You said he was big 5 minutes ago. He's got BKB drums. And he is looking ready and raring to fight. As a plate mail is coming out to him as well.
They're stacking armor on their heroes. Mag going for that medallion against TB, against that Prophet. It's straight up physical damage coming out from these two heroes.
Monkey Manta into Ags, we've seen that plenty.
Nyx seems to be favoring Mantis style over BKB whenever he's playing against hero like Treant Protector, which I really like. You don't want to pop BKB and then try chasing heroes. This way you have like lower cooldown on an ability to dodge things.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he's swapping things around. I see Blades of Alacrity and then a full MKB.
Oh. What's the reason for that, do you reckon?
I guess he changed his mind, like, I don't want to go for Ags, now switches back to Ags once again.
Well, we'll see if he makes up his mind. Yeah, already investing 1,000 gold into that blade makes Aghanims feel a little bit nicer. A 5k lead for Hellraisers, and it feels like Tempo have got to do something here to kind of get momentum back into their hands, and a smoke will do exactly that. They shift across the river, scouting out the Magnus with a TB illusion. Dual Scepter ready for Noob's Death Prophet, but initiating on this Magnus who has 1.8k HP on Strength Trend, they'll find the Monkey instead. Magnus, can you get in there with a Blink and an RP? He's silenced, so the answer is most definitely no. Both Exorcism and Metamorphosis popped here for a tier 2. And Tempo, that is a big kill to get if they can get some objectives off the back of it.
Well, Lil was trying to take the creep wave away. Backdoor region kicking in, still DP ulti running for the 15 seconds and the meta for like 20-ish, so more than enough to bring the tier 2 tower down. Age is gone on position for Mirana. It's time for Hellraisers to strike.
That is the key timing, isn't it, Lacoste? Age is down.
Yes, it is.
DNZ loses that second life. Good Bramble Maze. In comes Lil, trying to stop the outpost from being stolen. 30 seconds to that 20-minute mark. As Treant dusted up, they've got the catch onto Mirana thanks to the Doom with the clumsy net, and they are skewering across, looking for that additional straggling hero in the Treant, but instead, they'll just reclaim the outpost.
This Doom is just finding perfect items. First Faded Brooch for the first 10 minutes. Now he's holding onto Clumsy Net, so he has so many things to set things up. Oh, he canceled his TP. Figured out. Man, Rune is following. Maybe I should pick that up instead. So yeah.
Well, they find the DP. Noob really out of position here. Nowhere near his teammates in the enemy triangle. And Monkey King able just to leap across the canopy from tree to tree, enabled by this Dark Willow, and it's just so simple when you put yourself in front of them like that.
I watched a lot of the Tempo games, and this is something that Noob struggles in the mid game. Whenever I say Noob, like, people probably just think like which...
You're flaming him!
Yeah, which
Stop
player...
being so rude, Lacoste!
No, which player is he talking about? But I'm talking about Death Prophet, where he gets caught outside of position multiple times. We've seen that in game number 1, where his Zeus got picked off so many times.
And a double damage rune on Monkey King for a simple tier 1. Well, Funnick, with the help of Kasani there, actually trying to trap up the TB, but fake pumping the RP. Funnick didn't feel comfortable committing for it. Terrorize also just being baited out there a little bit. Lil holding on to his cooldowns. Tempo wanting to try and get out of their shell, out of their base. The arrow scraping one of the butt cheeks of Dark Willow. And again, no flinching here from Hellraisers. They've got the two side lanes being farmed very effectively, efficiently. Monkey King and Doom keep gathering up all of this farm on the sides of the map. While again, it feels like Tempo are grouping up much more, and they're more limited in their options.
This type of lineup relies on going together once again. Same goes for game number 1, where they need to have all 5 heroes to make stuff happen.
And that plays into the hands of Reverse Polarity and Wukong's command. Smoke from Hellraisers. Noob, yet again, DP is just frontlining here as Monkey King jumps straight in on top of her with a Boundless Strike. They get the RP onto the 2. A counter initiation from the Centaur there, but the Terrorize is good. Sending Tempo back, and the damage from HR, it is substantial. 3 heroes in quick succession as DP, Centaur, and Treant all hit that ground with a thud.
This is the Hellraisers that I know that I used to watch 2-3 months ago, where the execution was on point. Like, what happened? Like, they've been really struggling, and this type of stuff is what I want to see.
Yeah, it was absolutely perfect. But again, it's down to Noob being kind of out of position. He's showing himself on the map. He's in this area where there's no towers. If you want backup, they've got to TP to tier 2. And you don't have heroes that can really maneuver themselves in those short periods of time. As Hellraisers really do pack a punch when they're able to jump the targets they desire. Living armor is going to top up the tier 1 for a couple of seconds.
Radiant's top tower.
But again, this Monkey King and Doom pummeling into objectives.
Smoke from Tempo. They want to make something happen. Roche will respawn in 2 minutes. There is Courier from Dark Willow scouting things out inside the pit.
No RP for a minute. Monkey King on the other side of the map. I mean, right now it's kind of the job of King R to walk into them, right? Just say, hello, you're smoked. Come and kill me then. Show me what you got. But he's not going to do that. He's going to get away with everybody else of HR, not giving away a single casualty. And with no Roshan alive, no tier 1 mid or top to take, Tempo are kind of left like headless chickens wondering, where do we go? What's our next move?
Hellraisers are spreading across the map nicely, getting the most out of it. Monkey King is massive at the moment. Full Aghanim Scepter, Mantis style, just needs 2,000 gold to finish off his own KB. And Doom, sitting at 35 armor at this point. Like, Doom does not care. The only way you kill this Doom is if Thorblade is low and use the Sunder on him.
Yeah, even then it's going to be a struggle. And every time a Tempo hero shows on the map like the Treant here, they are jumped on immediately. Arrow threads the needle between 4 HR heroes, but LeBron's life is forfeit, and he's forced to buy back, knowing that Roshan could very well be alive right now. We know, of course, 30 seconds until the big man returns. But Tempo, they are playing for every inch of this map and every inch of their tournament livelihood as they are slowly but surely slipping away with this final game.
Gotcha.
And you're just continuing to accelerate with Empowered Monkey, Empowered Doom.
Yeah, they feel
Radiant's bottom tower is under
comfortable just farming with these two heroes. Bottom lane constantly being pushed in. Enchantress scouting things out inside the pit with one of her creeps.
Does there come a point in this game where Terrorblade is going to be able to basically 1v5? Can Tempo keep him alive in fights for that long?
Not against these heroes. There is Terrorize, there's Doom. If they get a good initiation before Doom and Centaur uses ulti, Doom's target is Stevie.
Oh, Xani just getting away from that Blink Stomp. Tempo have spent their initiation a little bit here, and Doom is in, straight onto Noob. Pops his BKB, the Yule's up, he's going to buy a bit of time, but here's the Phonic, skewering her back and forcing the Stampede. Chain stuns abound, but Hellraisers just reset. Now Stampede's down, there's no overgrowth for a minute and a half, while HR keep every single ultimate ready for this proper next Roshan team fight.
The only thing they used is BKB on Doom. It's still very hard for Tempo to just get inside a pit and try to punish it. DP did a good job just holding onto that exorcism, not trying to pop it.
And this is the smoke that could really define Tempo's tournament run.
No BKB
to win
on
this
Doom.
fight, the BKB's down for Doom, so the Blink Stomp, it is good. Xani, half HP, the Terrorize will not keep him safe. Buyback's available there for the Doombringer. We'll see if he opts to pop it as Roshan scouted out and a Satyr Blast flying through from the pit. Clips onto the DP, but they are in there. Smoke now from the rest of HR. Bramble Maze, Arrow, everything just being chucked into this area, and Roshan down to about half HP. Boundless Strike and a jump onto Centaur. Mitch was looking for a sneaky position there to make the initiation. Stomps up, but he's dead. Might have to buy back as Roshan drops low. The RP there is beautiful from Phonic. HR is straight onto them and into the Wukong's command. It's a triple for Monkey. Hellraisers have done it. 3 heroes dead, one has had to buy back, and the Centaur, well, he's got no one left to fight with because LeBron's gone.
Xani was holding on for that buyback until they see them running inside the pit. Everyone was in perimeter to actually get a good catch, and Phonic, man, he really delivered this game. Multiple RPs with 2-3-man RPs skewering them back inside Wukong's command. They did not give Doom Aegis, they just gave him cheese. Like, if he has a BKB, he's more than fine. I don't think they get a kill on him.
Oh, they gave him the perfect opportunity. We just saw back on the replay. When your DP and Terrorblade both walk into the same area, you let that Magnus have the double core. Reverse polarity. Funnick's going to take it any day of the week. He really has performed, like you've been saying, as the Blink Stomp from Mitch, catching out the little Dark Willow. It's a kill, but it's a kill for kill's sake. You're not really going to get anything off the back of that. Just a little bit of gold to line your pockets. And I've got to say, I much prefer Funnick here playing your tanky initiation heroes rather than Venomancer.
Oh, that's for sure. Like, even though in the first game he missed a couple of combos with the Mars, try to go for big brain play, spear, and then use arena. It didn't work out a couple of times, but overall he had a good plays. He knows where he needs to stand instead of, just playing this static hero like Venomancer. It's so little you can do with that one.
Yeah, there's no real nuance to it. You can't really play around with fog or the intentions of your teammates or your enemies.
Yeah.
To try and use them against them.
I'm gonna stand in fog, use this ward right here, put it on the northwest entrance. That's gonna be so dope.
Oh, like, the pixel perfect ward placement, Lacoste.
Yeah, Venomancer is just not that hero.
Skilled hero. Much nicer here, Funnick with the skewers and the RPs. And the Solar Crest going to be helping out his Monkey King as well, who is really, really beefy. 20,000 net worth. Satanic is well on its way, on top of the Empower he's been getting all game. And a Solar Crest to boot. Nyx having a real great first 30 minutes of this match. And now you've got Aegis on him with Cheese on the Doom. Things start to darken for Tempo, as the Terrorblade really hasn't had the same luxuries as his opponents. Halberd and Manta, good little items there. Trying to work on the bigger Skadi, which can allow him to deal with these melee cores. That is something worth pointing out. Very often Terrorblade, when he's in meta especially, or specifically, very good against your Monkey Kings, your Dooms, your Magnuses, as long as he's able to keep them at arm's reach.
Yeah, not unless Hellraisers gets the first good jump every single time. Then he's like, man, I'm inside of Wukong's command with half HP. What do I do?
Who do I sunder? How do I get out of here? It might be something worth thinking about for Nyx as well, or just going for that BKB to stop these kind of sunder plays. And he seems like the kind of player who wants to consider all the options. Satanic turns into a Moonshard as the Blink Stomp, catching onto the King or Enchantress. But Boundless Strike and the damage from Monkey King is more than enough to find DNZ as the Moonlight Shadow gets Mitch away off to the west, safe and sound. Attempted Funnick Skewer. Nice try there, buddy. But Hellraisers with the upper hand once again. Not even losing the Tier 1 tower. Bottom is being bodyguarded. Enchantress has a creep in front of the Tier 1. Nobody can take that tower down.
Can't touch the tower. Monkey King. Man, he's so farmed, he just bought a Moonshard. As his 4th item.
Yeah, why the hell not? Really, why the hell not? Oh, Death Prophet again, completely out in the open. Lincoln Sphere there, does pop one of the spells. Self-Yules to buy time against the Bedlam, but in comes the Monkey King! Bloody obliterates the Death Prophet! Holy shit!
He went for Boundless Strike, crit damage on top of Empower and Monkey King bar procced. That's just insane damage. I don't think
maybe
DP expected this to happen. And he's been blessed by Gaben, Paladin and Sword. This is the item you want to get. Anything good on Tempo's side? I see Centaur with the spider legs, half human, half horse, half spider. Not too bad.
Sounds like Purge's character in our D&D campaign. Half of 20 different things. Blink Stomp, hello. Centaur was in there. Mirana helps kill off the Dark Willow. And the Yules on the Doom stops any counter initiation. Where's the rest of Hellraisers? Here they come. The Skewer chops down the trees that Monkey was jumping across. But HR, I don't think they'll grab anyone. Ooh, maybe. Stampede from Mitch gets him away from the dangerous Monkey. Lurking in his natural habitat, the treetops.
One thing they have that is also good against TB, and we did not point out, is Enchant. You take away one of the illusions.
Very true. Terrorblade might have to worry about his own real life, not just the illusions. Mirana yet again just yulzing up and running away. Terrorblade TP home with no reveal around. The sentry comes just a fraction too late. Tempo doing a very good job kind of forcing Hellraisers to play this game of tennis, basically, smashing the ball from one side of the court to the other, and not letting Hellraisers use this timing around the Aegis, which is going to expire in 1 minute. They haven't, haven't gone high ground yet.
Yeah, Tempo's getting them real good. Net worth difference increases every minute by like 2,000. They're really showing.
Shut up.
They're really
Come on,
showing
there's a
them
silver.
right there.
There's a silver lining, Lacoste. DNZ dying might not be so silver, it's a bit more bronze. Godlike Monkey King on his way to stardom.
Fnatic had enough of these heroes hiding underneath the shadows. Treant Protector with level 10 talent and invisibility, so he says, screw it, I'm gonna buy Gem. I've had enough, we're gonna get rid of the vision. They have some vision on the northern part of the map, one near the middle, but that's gonna get rewarded pretty soon.
Well, they found LeBron trying to sneak an outpost under the nose of the Doom. And Monkey King bound the strike. Beyond godlike, 13, 2, and 6. So if he just, dies once, has one assist, he's got one of the numbers. Oh, they found the TB? Oh dear.
This was gonna play out.
Oh, I feel better already.
I wouldn't say this game's slowly falling apart, but medium, let's say it at a medium speed.
So it hasn't fallen apart yet? It is falling apart still. Okay. So what are the things going for Tempo right now? Because they're losing heroes just one by one, toppling like dominoes. Lose the tree at top, the TB mid, the Mirana falls mid as well. And now potentially high ground time for Hellraisers, or at the very least you force some buybacks.
And we are slowly reaching the speed of light here, considering how fast Monkey King's hitting the towers.
What's the speed of light, Lacoste?
I don't know the exact number, but it's very speedy. Gary,
3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second or something? I don't know. It's a
I
big
just
number.
wanted to sound smart, but failed to do so. Just
They're
kidding.
just diving tier 4s, Lacoste!
Your scientist, Gary. Skewer back.
Oh! Blink Skewer, Mitch tries to stampede, but the chain stuns, the damage, the impetus shot, not quite enough. They do finally kill him off, though, as Xani with the Scorched Earth gets the killing blow. So another hero down, and Tempo having to fight 4 versus 5 yet again. Arrows trying to clear out creeps. Crypt Swarm being spammed out, Nature's Grasp to block the entrance to this high ground now. But Monkey King with Satanic Manta moving away from the arrow and letting Xani tank that up for him, who holds a BKB and a cheese. And the first lane of barracks, for the first time, going to go down here to Hellraisers. We've seen Tempo do this, 22 minutes every game.
It's just too much damage. Monkey King, level 25, parks himself in front of the tower, starts to get monkeys from Aghanim Scepter. Fnatic a bit further away, so they don't see them.
LeBron. He just wanted to defend the tower. He'll buy back now. The Yules into Cursed Crown. The Mantle dodge that gets Krillat out of the stuns. As the Doombringer still holding BKB and the cheese, looking for any form of initiation.
HR just wants to reset. Magnus went in with the blink and skewer. Now it's ready up once again.
And Glimmer Cape looking for the jump. There it is. RP catches 2. The TV's the big ticket item though, and the damage is unstoppable. DPTV both dead, and this has got to be game over. There is no way back into this. Good luck further, says DNZ. Hellraisers keep themselves in the tournament, and Tempo, unfortunately, are out.
Yeah, I gotta say, watching Tempo play, they have been very one-dimensional. I feel like they are picking the same heroes every single time they can. It's either like a TB, Drow Ranger for Krillat. We have Mitch constantly being an Underlord or a Centaur. Void Spirit mostly banned out because Noob is the guy who's just gonna spam it. But the Hellraisers, man, we gotta give props to Phonic and Nyx. They really delivered throughout the series. Not the one on the Venomancer, but Phonic, give him a hero with the Blink Dagger that he can initiate, and he's gonna shine.
Yeah, give him more leeway, give him a bigger HP pool, and you can see there Phonic really able to toy with the minds of his opponents on Mars and Magnus in Game 1 and Game 3, looking spectacular with his initiations. And Nyx has, you know, really stepped up his game as well, it feels like, on these carry heroes. 16-2-9, and he had a perfect game in Game 1 as well, looking really, really prominent on his Hellraiser side as both captain, drafter, and position 1 carry. But from myself and Lacoste, that's it from us today. You'll have OD and Fogs taking you through the second and third series, Yellow Submarine up against NIP and OG against Alliance, your series for the rest of the day. So make sure you stay tuned, keep getting involved, and enjoy the rest of the Dota. We'll see you guys next time.
You know what the message is. Suddenly you with me now. You know what the message is. I be running wild for you, babe. You know what the message is. I don't have no patience. Ain't no conversation. Sometimes make you feel good. I just wanna talk, but you don't wanna listen. Tryna go far, but you got mixed feelings. So I'm finished. I'm on my way. Then you tell me you need it. Back in my space. Hey, yeah. How could I lie? Just to be cold. Wanna be honest. You should know. I just came here to make y'all feel good. You know what the message is. Suddenly you with me now. You know what the message is. I be running wild for you, babe. You know what the message is. I don't have no patience. Ain't no conversation. Sometimes make you feel good.
I fell apart when I saw you look at me that way. It broke my heart to see. It was a moment of darkness, a moment in time that I regret for being so heartless. It was a moment of darkness. I fell apart when I saw you look at me that way. It broke my heart to see. It's too hard, it don't come easy. I went dark, I lost it right away. And when it starts, God knows what I'll say. In my head, I had good reason.
Good welcome everybody, and back here to ESL 1 Germany. Our second elimination series ended with Tempo exiting the tournament, and unfortunately for them, they have to enter my dining table next. And now we are getting ready for our Game Fuel post-match, where me and my panel try and break down this series for you guys, and you guys can get all the knowledge bombs you need. I've got my panel back here, Danog, Godot, lads. 3-mapper. We've been seeing a lot of them now for ESL 1 Germany. I thought at the start, oh, we're just getting 2 zeros, but we're getting 3-mappers, and it's good to see.
It is good to see, but again, it feels like the team with the stronger draft ended up with the loss. You know, the execution is just somewhat lacking from both of these teams, honestly. Like, it felt a little better from Hellraisers that time around, but it was on the back of Tempo making a fair few misplays, especially around that Roche pit.
Yeah, I felt they just tried to enforce the Roche too many times. I think they lost 2 major fights at Roche, and one of them, at least, Marana managed to salvage the Jaegers and ran away with it. But in the end of the day, you're losing your timings. I mean, instead of just trying to force Roche, you can make a smoke play, maybe you get a good fight, and then you go for Roche, and then you have the Aegis, and it's going to be a completely different game because I can't kill the Terrorblade twice in a row. And you're also giving those timings to Hellraisers, and then they're getting their items quicker. And I also didn't really agree with the itemization from some of the core heroes from
Tempo, yeah. It felt like they were playing way too defensively, I thought.
Yeah. There was no Shivers guard, so the DP is just running around for Yules. Lincoln's no armor, so one MK stun destroys him completely. We saw in one of the fights where he just got completely blown up as well.
Yeah. Well, somebody who is quite happy about the poor itemization coming in from Tempo is Lil from Hellraisers. So Lil, mate, congratulations on your series victory here for ESL 1 Germany. I want to touch on something that you don't have to answer if you want to, but my question here is King R safe in the team right now after this victory?
Once again, what?
I just want to ask: Is King R going to be more stable in this roster now after coming to today for ESL 1 Germany?
Yeah, I think so. We've tried out 2 or 3 persons, but everyone was not that good. And last time we played with our coach, who doesn't play Dota usually. So now King R is free, and we are trying him out, and it feels okay now. We are doing better than we did. Yes, last games.
We love honesty. We spoke with Phonic previously, and he mentioned that Nyx has a much stronger role, a much bigger role in the team in terms of shot calling and drafting and play style and that sort of thing. Is the Monkey King, like, it felt like he was the one that was leading the charge into fights as opposed to things like a Doom or a Magnus. Is that just his play style where he's really aggressive?
Yeah, it's just his playstyle. He likes to make space. He doesn't really like to play hardcores. And you said that he's leading, that's true. And he's actually, if you're talking about whole series, he has some issues with his stomach. So he is sick a bit, and that's why we had a pretty bad second game, and he couldn't play normally. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, going back to that second game, I was just wondering because obviously it didn't look like you guys got what you guys wanted from the laning phase, and you guys had a really bad early game, which led to a lot of mistakes in the mid game and a big disadvantage in gold. So what do you guys think, going from the second game to the third game, what did you guys actually change and what did you guys talk about?
Actually, for the first we took second pick, and we could close their heroes in second stage. Yeah, it's better for us against this team. They don't have super counters, super cheese heroes for 24th pick. So it's fine for us to play first pick, and we are fine with that. And yeah, we just changed our draft. It was there were different heroes, and it was easy to play. And we fucked up with draft second games. That's why it was so hard to play.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I've got another question for you here, Lil Mate. Are you guys confident going forward here for the rest of ESL 1 Germany, especially with how King R performed today?
Yeah, I think so. Actually, if I'm talking about my team, I'm pretty sure we can win almost any team, but not Team Secret and OG in our form. And as you said previously, it's more about draft. So if you took if you take a good draft your heroes, you can easily win any team. And
Alright.
if you have bad draft, you can lose to any team like Tempo or Windstrike or whoever.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's good to hear that you got confidence moving forward here for ESL One Germany. So, Lil, we'll leave you for this one, and good to see you a little bit later.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
We love an honest man.
I mean, Kingar's in the team, boys. He's looking good.
He's done it.
I mean, Lil put it nicely there. They tried out a few more players, and obviously they got the victory here. So it feels good to have a player who comes in nice and early, and then they do get the victory. So it makes them have a little bit more confidence together. And maybe this is where it starts to click for Windstrike. I mean, click for Hellraisers, and they start going a little bit further here in ESL in Germany.
Yeah, I hope so as well. Lacoste mentioned it towards the end of the cast of that game number 3. It just felt like this is the Hellraisers Dota that he knows that they're capable of. They just can't draft themselves into this corner where, you're losing the lanes so harshly. And, I mean, yeah, that is the Nyx that I like to see. I was like, towards the start of that game, lanes were going a tiny bit shaky for Hellraisers, but Nyx, as long as he gets what he wants, it feels like he can carry anything.
Yeah, I feel he's one of the more consistent CIS carries that we haven't really seen too much before this tournament, and I'm loving his adaptability as well as his hero pool. He can play these aggressive laning dominant heroes, he can play these hard carries as well. And also the fact that he's the leader, the shot caller, is very impressive too, because he tends to perform in most of the games I've seen.
Yeah, one of those people that just thrives under the pressure, and you love to see it.
Kind of leading from the front, right? I think Lil put it perfectly there. The fact that he's one of those players that likes not likes hitting creeps too much. He likes to be aggressive, and likes to be on the front foot, and we saw that with his Monkey King performance. And maybe moving forward here, some of these teams have to start looking at this Monkey King and maybe seeing, might not be a good game for us to pick all these melee offlaners up against something like Nyx's Monkey King, because he goes to show today that it's a very strong hero in the right hands.
Yeah, he mentioned as well Secret and OG, probably two of the teams that they're not feeling quite as confident about, and coincidentally enough, those are the two teams that heavily pick the Monkey King. So I feel like if they were to go this style of strategy where it's like a semi-carry from the position 1 role, they know how to deal with it if you're going up against the OG and Secret style.
Yeah, and another thing to point out, he also mentioned in an interview, was against Tempo, they're very easy to read because they know what kind of heroes they're going to be expecting from them. So changing to those heroes that can kind of dominate the lanes and having favorable matchups is better, and they can also pick them in the early stages because they kind of know that they're not going to adapt Tempo, right?
Yeah.
Against Secret and OG, they play whatever they want, and they're very unorthodox, so it's going to be really hard to go into that kind of playstyle. And
we kind of heard it from Lacoste as well. As Tempo, they just pick the same kind of heroes, right? You know exactly what you're going to get. You know how to play against them, and you're going to lose these games where you get outplayed by them. But when you come into these games where you have a better draft, have a better idea about how you want to play, how they want to play, it allows them to have these more dominant games like we've had from Game 1 and Game 3 here for Hellraisers.
I don't even want to say it was a more dominant draft. I still think Tempo had the better draft overall. It was just some of the positioning in these team fights, particularly like the first big RP that connected onto both the it was the Death Prophet and the Treant Protector. If the Treant was just slightly off to the side, you can get off the Overgrowth, completely disrupt the team fight. You're not going to have the same burst damage coming through. Same sort of thing with the DP and the Terrorblade, both standing on top of each other, holding hands, it felt like 3 or 4 different times, getting dual RP'd, and you just couldn't do anything. But Funnick really coming in clutch that time around, not even needing the Blink Dagger until, his 3rd, 4th item. He was just getting these amazing skewers off, and even without that Blink Dagger mobility, didn't die one time.
Yeah, this is one of the stronger performances I've seen him on. I mean, the previous game he was playing Mars, the first game where they won, and I felt he was very shaky. Game 2, obviously, that was a roller coaster from Tempo's side, but this game, even compared to the previous games, he really just kind of changed the fights around with just the RPs, and he didn't really have anyone to start for him as well. It's just really just reactional. So I like to see that more confidence kind of plays from him this particular game.
Playing behind Nyx a lot of the time as well. We saw so many times where you go in, you use the Wukongs, and then the skewer came, then the RP came, and it was great to see.
Yeah, usually when we see Funnick performing, that's when we do see him on things like the Sand King, the Mars, and the Magnus. So good performance here from Hellraisers as they do secure the series up against Tempo and keep themselves alive here for ESL 1 Germany. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a break, and on the other side of this, we're going to have our second series of today. It's not an elimination, it's not a play-in series, but it's a series that matters nonetheless. Yellow Submarine taking on Ninjas in Pajamas just after this.
We rise up from the dust and claim our throne.
With the right CPU, you can turn any game from familiar to phenomenal. Unleash the potential in all your gaming with Intel 10th Gen processors. With its optimal balance of threads, cores, and frequency to deliver elite real-world performance, only Intel can bring Marvel's Avengers to life with in-game PC optimizations. Supercharge your Marvel's Avengers experience with Intel Core i5, i7, and i9 processors.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Smix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
I don't want your empathy, I just want another enemy. I'm not gonna change a thing for you. I'm over middle ground, and I really wanna burn it down. I'm not your friend, and I won't pretend.
ESL One Germany 2020 Online is brought to you by Intel, Mercedes-Benz, Mountain Dew Game Fuel, DHL, GGBet, Corsair, Acer Predator, and Bitburger 0.0.
I hope you guys had a nice break. I hope you guys got all your cat jams, Pepe D's out as well, because it's now time for us to get into our second series of today. We've got Yellow Submarine taking on NIP for their 1-1 matches. Neither of these teams are at risk of elimination. Neither of these teams are going into the playoffs just yet. So each of these teams really want to get the series victory to put themselves in good stead heading into round number 4 of ESL 1 Germany. Now, I've got a special new panel for you guys. I called Darcy Godot before. I called Darcy QO before, so now QO is back.
Lil's had a bad influence on you, but
I
welcome,
don't know,
QO.
My brain is...
Special guy here.
You just make my brain go all fuzzy, QO, when I look at you.
Why is that my fault?
Who have you got with you? You've got Wayne with you as well?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah?
Bruce.
Bruce as well?
Yeah.
Oh my god. You guys need to not name any more of our stuffed animals that we've got
We
around
can name them whatever we want, all right? It's a free country.
I'm revoking your rights to name stuff now. Just so you guys
That's not fair.
But lads, we're getting ready for our second series of today. Yellow Submarine at Ninjas in Pajamas. Both these teams sitting at 1-1. Yellow Submarine were looking really strong after that first round. They got the 2-0 against Nigma. And now NIP, they looked, pretty good in their first series and then a little bit more shaky up against Alliance in their second series. So now both these teams coming off of a loss. Obviously losses against Alliance as well as Secret means that they were kind of expected losses, but now coming into this, they're looking to try and improve and get to that 2-1 scoreline.
Man, there's just none of the same hairstyle on either team. You've got everything across the board. You've got the boy band, you've got the rock star, European idols, you've got Era looking like a surfer dude, It's looking nice across both teams. I mean, this should be a relatively even series. NIP surprised me, honestly, being able to take one game off of Alliance, but, that first series against 5 men wasn't fantastic, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think they've got a lot more to show. But it's just about, are Yellow Submarine going to let them have the comfort picks that they want in the draft?
Exactly. What are we thinking about Yellow Submarine, though, QO? Are we expecting maybe something a little bit spicy coming in from them in this third series? Obviously, they lost to Team Secret, so maybe they haven't used all their strats just yet, but...
Yeah, that was a little unfortunate. They have to verse Secret in game 2. Maybe if they verse other team. I think that performance... I think it was absolutely stomped coming from Secret, but if they had more chance, how I said I'm trusting in this Yellow Submarine. I still do.
Yellow
feel
Slammer
that.
Jammer.
Yep.
Well, luckily for you, QO, we do have our pre-match interview here with the boys of Yellow Submarine. I believe it is Mio that we've got on the line here. Mio, mate, I'd like to say, first off, good luck here for your series up against Ninjas in Pajamas. So, as we did just touch on here on the panel, you guys did unfortunately have to go up against Secret in that round number 2. What did you guys learn from that series going up against Team Secret?
Hi, thank you. Against Team Secret, we learned that you should play perfect every play in game, I think, and you should not do mistakes. And even mini mistakes are becoming to a huge lead for them. So I have learned something from this game. Like in first game, I should move on Invoker, should not stay in lane against Ricky when he gets level 6 because I can't last hit anymore, etc. Like some mini moves,
Yeah, seems like a little bit of a blessing in disguise to be able to learn from the best. I want to ask you a question about your offlaner and your position 4. They've got some interesting names. You've got Collapse and you've got So Bad. With their names, is that no one else can flame them because they've already got names that kind of make them sound bad? It's like, I'm so bad, you can't make me feel any worse than I am right now.
I don't know. Maybe in pubs?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe in pubs. if people flame them, I don't know. But we don't flame each other, of course.
How about
I don't know.
How about yourself with your name?
Actually, it was one day name, and someday I was playing. I started playing some officials, Mio. Actually, I want a new nickname. It's Toronto Tokyo. I think it's much better.
Oh, Toronto Tokyo. That's an interesting name.
Yeah, with big saddles, big one, cups.
Sounds good.
This is not a Dora question.
It's amazing. Okay. Toronto Tokyo. Just.
Do you want us to call you that from now on?
If you want, you can.
All right.
All right.
Yep.
Toronto, Tokyo it is.
Yeah, this is not a Dora questions, but Mio, are you like related to any Koreans
I don't know.
in your family?
What?
Do you
Maybe
think
not.
he's,
Maybe
your
yes. I don't
cousin,
know.
long-lost
I
cousin
don't
or
really
something?
No,
know.
he has similar eyes, like with me.
I'm
It's
Asian,
similar
you
eyes.
know.
Yep.
I'm Asian. You're Asian too.
Q, I just want some Korean friends here, so Mia, we're going to let you, actually, Toronto, Tokyo. We'll let you
Toronto,
get
Tokyo.
prepared here for your series up against Ninjas in Pajamas, and good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
New fresh name. That's something new coming out of these
Toronto,
interviews.
Tokyo.
Toronto, Tokyo.
Production, get right on that.
That
You got
sounds
to change the
dope.
name up.
That sounds really good. That just rolls off
I
the
think
tongue.
it's better than
Toronto, Tokyo.
It's better than his nickname.
It's better than Mio.
I think
Yeah.
Mio is fine.
Toronto,
Yeah, Mio's
Tokyo
fine.
sounds stronger than Mio. Mio sounds a bit like.
I mean, it's too
you
big.
know,
City. I used to live
the
in Toronto. by the way.
Toronto, Tokyo. You know, like Toto.
All right, guys, we're getting a little bit off track here, but that means we're going to have to steer this ship back in the right direction, and that means to another break here before we get into game number 1 between Yelena Submarine and Ninjas in Pajamas. We won't be long.
So baby, stay with me where the sun doesn't go down, and we will drift away until the day the world stops spinning, 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 until the day the world stops spinning. This ain't a song, it's a battle cry. No life. I see the clue between the strobe lights. I'm haunted, black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Used to want it bad, used to want it bad, but I can't taste. I can't help you now, okay? Follow me around, okay? Black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Follow me around, okay? Black face. Hey, follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my plate, now I can't think. I said woke up, take a X, and now I'm feeling this is it. Want the money, want the rest. I do purse, not no cess. They say done is why you sad. I said I just need a thing. Red tape, got too close, I hate the city. Black face, show you everything you need till you forget it back. Someone said it's sad. I used to want it bad. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you too many times, yeah. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you. I know it's in my head.
The boys on the yellow submarine are looking to fight off the ninjas that wear pajamas here in our second series for ESL 1 Germany, day number 8. Both these teams are sitting in a 1-1 series score, and both of them are looking for that beautiful 2-1 score at the end of today. But now, as we get ready for our game number 1 draft, and welcome back my panel for this draft, Dan or Kyo, lads. The boys on the yellow submarine fighting against the ninjas. What's stronger?
I'm a little disappointed.
Ninjas or a submarine? I need this first. I need this first.
Is the submarine underwater or is it just docked?
Underwater. But the ninjas have scuba gear.
Oh, man. Well, we'll have to see. This series will decide it.
I mean, Submarine is obviously stronger. Like, if you play this war game, you know, like Submarine is like.
But what if you just
more
drill
expensive,
through it?
Like them producing
Just drill
a ninja.
through it and it sinks, you know?
It's 5 ninjas, dude. Like, 5 ninjas, like, to me, feels like it's better than 1 submarine.
And we've got an IO that's going to be helping them. So a little bit of regen power coming to bring this draft back to sanity. So I'm liking this ban out from Yellow Submarine, that's to be sure. You do not let NIP Charlie play his Lifestealer. So very good. Done their research, and it's a nice opening for them. IO Tiny, don't think it's going to be the Elemental Adventure this time going around, going back, what, 6 years or so? But
I don't think it was that long ago, was
no,
it?
No, that specific fan video, but still, remember the days when it was like, it was actually Era playing the Tiny and No-Tail on the IO back in the old Fnatic days.
The old Fnatic days, reminiscing a little bit.
I wonder what they prepared like for today, because I think the games without the Lifestealer, it's not just Charlie, like whole team was crumbling.
Yeah.
And I felt like they're relying on this like Lifestealer is like way too high, and like other heroes just didn't seem that great. So I hope they're like ready with like other draft today, and they're versing against Submariner, and I think they're really strong in laning phase.
You think Submarine are?
Do
you think Submarine are very strong in the laning phase? Yeah. All right, let me ask you this, Kyo. Ignore the drafts. If you said who's going to win, NIP or Yellow Submarine, who would you say?
I already told you guys. Like,
oh, that's true. You are a fanboy.
And like, I mean, Submarines are like more cost effective.
Well, now with this draft, you've got a very strong team fight already with the Phoenix and the Mars. You know they're probably not going to be picking up the Snapfire to be like somewhat of a counter towards the Egg, which is always going to be nice. IO isn't really an Egg hitter, neither is the Tiny. So I'm really liking this opening from Yellow Sub.
Yep.
These are basically the first same 3 bans that Alliance did against NIP in the games that they won as well. Getting rid of the Focus Void, getting rid of the Lifestealer, making sure that Charlie's playing something a little bit out of his comfort zone. And we've seen that from a lot of these carry players as well, right? Where you put them on these more kind of uncomfortable heroes, and it means that you can't really play around it. Kira, like, obviously how they've seen these drafts is going, it already looks like Yellow Submarine is saying, Charlie, you have to play something completely different. How does that, you know, work out for a carry player who has to play a hero that he might not have played in a couple of patches?
I mean, if you're usually like a pro player, like they know how to play Dota. Like if you're like 8K, 9K, and then you're in a team and you've been screaming like 100 games, and yeah, like you should. He probably has this idea, but I think it just didn't show it off on the like official match. And I think this is like a perfect time that Charlie can prove that he's like strong with others. And as long as they remove this like bans, like the Lifestealer ban in the first ban, like I think they're gonna be in the very like strong spot, because his Lifestealer was like insane. I was saying last time, but I really don't like this IO Tiny open up. Like it just feels like it's just way too outdated. And
it's outdated. It's a little slow as well. IO doesn't really do anything in the laning stage. You're not going to be pressured all that much. And when Yellow Submarine, they pick up this Mars, it's very much a staple of their style of drafting. They tend to pair it with these squishier but more mobile heroes. So we could potentially see things come out that aren't yet banned. We've Void Spirit, Anti-Mage, Storm Spirit. Those are the main 3 heroes that they like to pair together with it. So I'm going to be looking out for those to come up next for Yellow Sub.
Yeah, and one thing that like I like how the Submarine is banning all these carry heroes, because the Tiny IO won't be able to lane against Mars and Phoenix. And you have to put this Tiny in mid, or again like a post 4.
But then you can just pick a winning lane for your safe lane that's going to crush a Tiny, or at least a mid that is going to be fine if the Tiny does choose to rotate.
Yeah, at least like all these like 3 greedy, like six hard carries are banned from both sides. So maybe like Tiny might pay off because of this factor. You know, like you don't have to heavily focus on winning lanes.
I like the Witch Doctor a lot, actually. You know, it doesn't reveal any of which of those squishy style heroes that I was mentioning that they're going to be going for. It's really good to combo together with the Death Ward. You just stand on the other side of the arena and there's nothing that can stop you. And against an IO, you're basically guaranteeing that those casks are going to bounce around.
Yeah, like it used to be like counter since like 2013, I think. Very obvious like the heroes to pick against IO.
So I have a question about this Witch Doctor. Is there a reason why we're seeing the resurgence of the Purple Doctor? You know, we didn't see it for a long time, and this patch is a little bit older now, and now he's just made this resurgence. Is it just because of his strong laning with like all 3 of his spells being strong?
His lane is like strong, but his roaming is like really bad. Like if you're going for a mid kill or like off lane kill for like 7 minutes to 15 minutes, like this hero doesn't do that much thing. Like he needs this like other lanes to do well already.
And I think the other thing that like a lot more players have actually started to use the Voodoo Restoration, especially at level 1. I'm not quite sure if it is something that Miposhka likes to do all that often. A lot of people still go for the classic, you know, just Maledict, a couple points in Cask, and then maybe get Voodoo Resto at level 4. But it means that you can get away with going slightly greedier with your style.
If he's like not versing against like Venom or anything, I think since you're versing, you know that you're gonna be versing against Tiny most likely, and I think he's gonna be leveling like the Maledict instead of Voodoo
I think so as
Restoration.
well. You might get it at 4 if you're not getting it level 1, but beyond that, there's not really too much point. Okay.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah,
like it
new
just
hero?
sounds like a Charlie's hero.
Yeah.
Some reason.
It's a Charlie style of hero. It pairs really well together with the IO. You can get easy kills. You know, it's not one of those things that requires a drawn-out team fight to get something. You can go for these, let's call them greedy relocates as well, and you can very easily pick off something, even a Mars, which can typically be quite tanky against a lot of cores.
Yeah. I think the first like level 3 is like really important from NIP side. It's a war between Mars versus Ulsa. Like if Mars have like more CS or like better like laning phase, and I think Mars is gonna have like a really good time, like from 4 minutes to like level 4 to 6. But yeah, we have to see how Charlie's will play, because I think whenever he played Lifestealer, he was never behind.
Yeah, never.
And then like which means he knows how to, you know, like right click with over Venom, like zoning
Push
people
the
out.
limits of the hero.
And also stopping the enemies like off lane's net worth.
Obviously, the team fight on Yellow Submarine is really good. I'm like with this Io and Ursa. Yes, you can get bullied out of the lane a little bit, but I mean, it's slow-ish damage, right? So you're never going to be crushed in the lane as this Io Ursa. So I think Ursa's a really nice pick to be able to go towards. And okay, they're going for a Morphling. Not necessarily, like I was mentioning before, one of those super squishy heroes. You've got a lot of tankability, but I mean, I still like it. It's pretty good, pretty safe.
I want to see Snapfire.
Yeah?
Whenever you're versing against Morphling, I just feel like Snapfire is like way too good.
Yeah, we saw it with Mud Golems against Nigma, right?
And you have Tiny to set it up, and as long as they get this Meteor who can actually lock one down and Snapfire Cookie after, he's like 5-second disable confirmed.
Oh, okay. They're going to go with the Lina here. So
Lina.
Magic damage as well as lockdown as well for the Morphling. You can, you know, if you get lucky sitting in the trees there, get the Laguna Blade off of the Morphling full agi. So I would have liked the Sapphire as well, as QO said, but does this mean that
You're shaking your head a little bit.
Which one of these heroes is being pushed in the offlane, lads? Which one?
The one that's yet to come, I think.
Oh, maybe. So we think it's going to be a mid laner or a mid tiny. Both things you guys
I don't know
hate.
how good I feel about a mid laner with this, right? Because yeah, sure, you can deal with the egg a little bit. You've got some burst damage for the Morphling, which is nice, but if you pop up that Arena of Blood, you don't do that much at all, and I don't feel super confident about the effectiveness of magic damage Alina going into the later stages of the game. You do need to transition, you know. You can get away with a Yules into an Ags, but beyond that, I think you need things like Daedalus, BKB, just so that you can stand and right-click.
Yeah, and like no team prefers to put Lina when there's a Mars in a game. Like just because like even if how farmed you are, like you have 10k or 11k net worth, this like 4k net worth Mars just blink in
just
and
press
then,
E.
yeah, just like spear ulti and spear, and like Lina's most likely like already red HP.
And if you don't kill her, you just pop up the Bulwark and all of her damage essentially is just redirected right back into you, which as a Morphling and even a Phoenix, you're more than happy to have that.
Yeah, I feel like they only picked Lina just to like lane it against Morphling, like most likely. So we are gonna be expecting NIP to pick mid here.
So you think that they're gonna go for like Tiny Lina in the offlane, like Saberlight picking up something like a Tiny?
Tiny Lina off lane and like IO also top and Enigma.
Okay. Bit more team fight coming in here from NIP. Were they the team that played it last time? Who was the team that played Enigma? Obviously Seb played it.
Liquid's played it.
For OG. Liquid's played it as well. There was a real greedy one that we saw.
There was one,
the
I
other
think,
day.
yesterday. We saw it yesterday, I believe.
Enigma, yes, it was from Extremer. And they got that game victory as well.
Yes, they did.
Because they got super greedy on it. So NIP picking up the Enigma here means that they're going to have a lot of extra team fight. They've got a lot of damage, a lot of lockdown as well. But is it enough from NIP? Is this kind of the draft you guys want? It looks a little bit wacky from what I can see.
I mean, when I think of NIP, I always think, this is use a fighting game reference, but janky. It's like something that's a little bit off-center. You're just not used to it. And typically it's with Supreme's hero. He goes things like the Visage and, you know, things of that nature into the mid lane. But I mean, I'm not feeling super strong about this. You have to think, what is going to start these team fights? Because Enigma, if you go a blink, then you're just super squishy. But if you don't, then you're building all of these aura items, and you can get burst nice and easily as well. And they're just going to go as Zeus. So trying to keep them pressured, keep them pushed away, even interrupting a lot of these blink daggers is going to be big value for Mio, aka Toronto Tokyo. Yeah, mid laner.
Yeah.
Alright.
I think NIP will win 2 lane at least. Like if the Charlie's, I think Lina will win like Zeus mid, and IO Ulsa. I'm not sure because I haven't seen Charlie like playing Ulsa before.
I feel like it's his style though. Oh,
Yeah,
and
I
he's
think-
got,
I think it's his style
He's
too.
got Dipper as well, the cosmetic, so that's always good to see. I don't know. I agree with you. I like NIP's laning, but I like Yellow Submarine's later game. So it's, you know, which one is going to be more impactful?
I think I have to go NIP here. Like that Zeus last pick really didn't convince me. Like assuming that like we knew that Lina is mid because of this Enigma, and I think Enigma's gonna have a, you know, like good catching up time if they win 2 lanes.
All right, so you're going to go with NIP. What about you, Matt?
My gut says Yellow Sub.
So you're going to go with Yellow Sub here. It looks like my panel is split once again here between Matt and Cura. Let's see if they're going to be correct. So we're going to leave it with our second set of honorary Australian casters. It's going to be Pixie and Foggo.
Yep, it's time for Yellow Submarine versus Ninjas in Pajamas. I'm ODPixel here with Fogged. Fogged, we've seen the lineups. What do you reckon? The panel's sort of mixed. Both of them going either way. Who's sort of where are you flopping this time round when you look at these 2 drafts? Oh, show me. No, I do. I hear you loud and clear, Fogged. Oh no, Fogged, what have you touched? Oh no. Well, hopefully, if you can't hear Fogged, I promise you I'm not talking to myself. I'm not crazy. He is here. I do hear him. He says he'll come. He says he's coming back in a minute, and he also said that ODPixel's the greatest. Thank you, Fogged. Very kind of you to say. Hopefully you'll be able to hear him soon on the stream. He did say that. I wouldn't make that up. I would not. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Yellow Submarine versus NIP. Let's give you a little bit of a rundown of who we've got playing what on each side. Down at the bottom, we have Era on his Tiny. It's going to be there with Misha on the IO. Support duo with Saberlight on the offlane. Enigma down here matched up against them. You can have your Toro farming on the safe lane Morph, supported by Miposhka. And then swinging over to the mid lane, we've got Mio. That last, the Zeus. Being the hero to come through for the Yellow Submarine. It's going to be laning against Supreme's Lina. That leaves us the top lane. We have Collapse on the offlane Mars, and he's laning against, he's laning with, so bad, of course, against Charlie's Ursa. We'll imagine we will see one of the supports from NIP head up the top. And Fog, are you there now?
Hello, hello.
Hello. I
hope
can
that
yet
they can
again
hear
hear
me.
you. Hopefully they do as well. I'm sure you're coming through loud and clear. So yeah, Fog, take it away. Give me the lowdown on what we're seeing here.
I'm a little bit mixed on both drafts. I think there's some weaknesses and some strength to the sides of both. I think this Enigma's kind of cool versus Morphling because it's this greedy pick that takes advantage because Morphling's greedy too. I'm just looking forward to see some fast-paced game because I think that's what we're in shape for here. With a Lean and an Ursa on one side, so I feel like they're going to play really aggressive with that. While I feel like Yellow Submarine, they're going to play really aggressive with their Zeus and Mars and Witch Doctor. While we have like these like other guys kind of farming on the side here, like the Enigma and the Morphling going to be more farmy.
Yeah, I mean, so the mid lane feels like a bit of an old school matchup, really. What, Zeus versus Lina in this 1v1 mid? How does this sort of pay off? You know, who comes out on top? Are we going to see Lina being able to threaten Zeus with the nukes, or is Zeus just always going to be able to sit back and arc lightning?
I feel like with the new Zeus, I think Zeus will be okay. Because it used to be like a little bit you can get contested because you get points in Lightning Bolt and you're actually going for kills. It's just a farming Zeus now. So I feel like you're always forcing the lane in. Only thing that can change it, I think, is going to be eyes on Era, right? Watching what this Tiny does. Because Zeus is a very easy hero to rotate on. That's why we see them put that ward to protect him on that right side so they can watch for the rotations.
Sure, and I mean, because they're on this Tiny, where is he going to find himself the most useful in this laning stage? Like bottom lane, is he going to need to sort of stick around here much? Like, can he do a lot against the sort of Witch Doctor Morph lane? Or is there going to sort of be, are they just looking for kill potential onto Miposhka in this lane?
I think he can stay down here. He has easy ways to rotate to any of the lanes. That's the beauty about a Tiny, but he actually works pretty well with Enigma. Like, just moving the positioning of either of these heroes can be really detrimental to them. Like, even Morphling, I think they can actually slow down the Morphling's farm a decent amount with just the denies, and just if they do get any tossbacks on him, it'll just cause him some confusion.
We'll see how much they can mess with Yatoro down there. And then up on the top lane, I mean, to sort of look at this matchup a bit more, Ursa, you've got the Fury swipes, you are against a melee hero, but Mars hits hard and there has a lot of good burst damage. I mean, nowadays, who do you sort of favor? Does the Ursa win out because he does have that Io backing him up, or Phoenix and Mars able to offer enough offensively to threaten Charlie early on?
I actually like the Mars Phoenix personally. I don't really like Ursa as a hero, period, anymore. I think he's just, his Earthshock nerfs just have added up too much. And I feel like Mars is a hero that can play around it really nicely, because you only have one gap closed, of course, on Ursa. He has two different ways to push you away and get him off of himself with both the God's Rebuke and the Spear. So I do like the Mars Phoenix lane quite a lot versus Io Ursa's. Ooh.
I mean, she's got to be careful. I mean, you sort of see that Io anytime he floats around there. When they've got a couple of levels on this Mars Phoenix, they spear Misha to a tree. They're going to be able to blow him up. And bottom lane. That's going to be where someone gets blown up first, as Saberlight and Era get that first blood onto Yatoro. The tips out as well here, as NIP feeling feisty to kick this one off.
Very nice. Very nice. To get an Enigma first blood is pretty massive, just to get his ball rolling, just to get him started. If he wants to go for some, rush book or something, used to be the old build. He's probably just going to go for that Arcane Boots early for Era. But that's what we're talking about, this Tiny. Those tossbacks versus these fragile heroes. Eidolons, they pack a punch.
Gotta be a little more careful down here, Yatoro. Those early deaths will certainly hurt. If they start to get the level advantage on NIP's side, that pressure's just going to amp up more and more, and just sort of set the lane up to a point where it's going to be a lot easier for Era to use sort of his early strengths against the other lanes like this, as you pointed out, very vulnerable Zeus in the mid lane if Era's able to get a wraparound on him.
Yeah. And he's doing a great job, honestly. I'm watching Era's movements this entire time bottom, blocking both camps, making sure that they can't pull it back at all. So this Morphling's farm is going to be slowed down a lot, and they're gonna crush the experience down here because of these constant denies with the Eidolons. Again, look at them. Both of them blocking both camps. See that? Just to make sure. Just crush this Morphling. They're trying to keep the pressure onto him. They're doing it perfectly. They came with a lot of prep this morning, it looks like.
Top lane. I'm just going to go with the spear onto Charlie. Holding him back.
He's gone for the Orb of Venom again, too. He loves getting Orb of Venom, it feels like, in offlane, just to pressure those carries. Nice. And we do see Era get himself that D ward. The very obvious ward. He's able to find it. So now, your Zeus does get a little bit spooked in the mid lane at times. Whenever the Tiny's off the map, you have to be quite wary of just getting tossed. So you see he's playing left side in the mid lane always now.
Well, they might get a chance to Miposhka here. It's Miposhka. He's going to get tossed over towards Saberlight. Monzan and the Malefice upon him, in with the Avalanche. Miposhka trying to run. The Fairy Fire will save him. Miposhka able to stay alive.
Look out for falling rocks.
How's he doing on the regen? No regen on him at all,
No
actually.
regen.
So he's going to have to play very careful. Might stick around, see if he can get a pull out or something, but yeah, sitting incredibly low. Needs to be very prepared for Era's able to get in range for an avalanche, as Baposhka will dive. That is going to be the case.
He's so happy that he has a pull available now, but Yatoro, he steps up pretty far. Era.
Got the toss back. He is shifting, though. And if they got enough damage to fight through the shift into strength, it doesn't look like it. Yatoro able to step back. But still now both of them without any regen. What have we got coming out of the courier? We do have some regen coming in from Naposhka. Yeah, he's picked up a salve and we'll be able to hand that over to Yatoro whilst he shifted into Agi.
And he's finally been able to pull. So he pulls the wave back. He's going to get a little bit better experience for himself and some easier farm for the Morphling under the tower. Yatoro, he's been slowed down a bit, but you see he's still doing pretty all right. 25 last hits, he's still up there.
That's pretty close, really, across all the lanes. Mid lane, very even. And top lane, yeah, just the same sort of story. 23 and 5, 24 and 1. Nobody getting totally zoned out these early lanes.
I like how Mio maximizes this as well, too. He goes to check this top bounty rune for himself in his jungle, but he does it early so that he can stack the camp, actually, with an arc lightning. So now he has a sack, too, as well as picking up the bounty and only missing one creep for it. I like these little nuances for the mid lane.
And I'm talking about the mid lane is Supreme. He's already ready to make his first move. As soon as he hits 6, he's heading down bottom. Creeps do see him. They've got the combo, and that'll do it. Just that extra bit of firepower from Supreme, allowing them to nuke down Yatoro before he's able to shift up into strength. It's an early rotation from the Lina, but one that pays off massively.
And these bounty rotations are always, yeah, they're really cool, just how different players take it. Like the Zeus, he could have gone top and maybe gone for a gank if he wanted to, but he decided to stack. Supreme, he could have stacked, he decided for the gank. I like when they just make, you know, at least they made a decision rather than just like going back to the mid lane. They actually actively did something extra. And I heard, you know, in the interview, we heard Mio talking. It's like these little things, they make the big difference when you're playing versus those big teams. So definitely looking for them to all play as perfect as possible, even though we like seeing mistakes.
Mio, Arcane Room will give him the pass to start clearing up these little stacks that he had going. A good boost of XP and gold. Of course, he is 7. I mean, Thunder God's Wrath is available if they do find opportunities on the side lanes. Probably the top lane is going to be the one that's most likely to have situations where Yellow Submarine might be able to burst someone down low.
Yep. They keep getting. They've been getting both pretty low, the IO as well as that Ursa. They actually get an instant D ward too, so some nice levels going to be coming out for these two top, almost 5 on Mars. Yeah, that extra damage, they have to be ready for it on the side of NIP.
Charlie trying to get a bit of a look in onto this block here still. If they can land a spear, it's going to be a lot of damage. Won't quite clip the tree. Didn't quite have the distance, so Charlie will live. And a good job as well. Yeah, absolutely. He gets hit by that and a rebuke with the Thunder Gods. He's going down every time.
Yep, and we're seeing Supreme. He's looking again for this rotation. Yatoro, he's getting low.
Gonna get in for the Laguna. He can. Is it enough? Yatoro able to wait for him off to the side. Era's going to be hunting. Yatoro, he cannot get anywhere as he's stuck. Supreme will find him. I mean, yeah, 2 times. These Lina rotations couldn't be any better. You know, ganking the enemy carry twice in the first 7 minutes to push him onto his 3rd death already in the laning stage. NIP are doing an excellent job of shutting down this morph early, and they know it. The tips continue to fly out.
I think they were talking to each other in the lobby chat too before the game. So I think these two know each other quite a bit. And yeah, I love it. Supreme's doing exactly what he needs to do. Is don't play selfish. He's playing very selfless, making moves around to shut down the enemy carry rather than just playing that mid lane. Love it. When you're playing a hero like mid Lina, I think this is what you have to do. I don't like it when I see these Linas playing so farm heavy, where they're just like, wait, I need my Yules to make a gank. I feel like you're putting yourself in a weird position. I feel like Lina has to get active in the mid lane as early as possible.
Yeah, and you think, sort of considering how both the side lanes are going, it's always going to be the bottom where Supreme's going to look to move. Going to the top lane it's just much harder to achieve stuff, or just do you think he feels that Charlie he's doing fine up here at the moment as the Ursa?
I think he just wants to slow down Morphling. It's it's a game with the Morphling in it. Like whatever, Mars is going to get stuff anyway. If he dies, who cares? Game's about the Morphling. So.
We'll land the spear onto Charlie, but he's got 18-1 charges, so very hard to burst through.
Mio's just playing it much more farmy than Alina.
He's
at
actually
bottom.
just stacking again. Oh, bottom.
They're able to take down the tower, get in behind the trees, and catch out Maposhka. Maposhka's got nowhere to run. Toss from Era, and a few more punches. Maposhka is trying to escape. It will pop a Fairy Fire, but they are going to have the movement speed to close him down as Era comes in with the final blow to take down Maposhka. And yeah, this bottom lane has just been totally cleaned up. 9 minutes in, 4 kills out of this bottom lane. And the tier 1 tower going down. It's one of those starts where we are seeing an Enigma just have a very, very good opening to the game. And we've seen it before, you know, if an Enigma gets a good start, the items are just going to come out so quickly. This mech's going to be in the game before you know it.
And this is also a game where BKB reigns supreme. You know, we didn't actually touch on it too much, but there's no BKB piercing disable. Saberlight, if he gets mech, I think he just... I actually thought he might just go straight BKB this game, but mech into BKB and he's free. They pop a Mars ult, they pop a Phoenix ult, he can just black hole the targets inside of it. And then sure, might have to worry about Supernova pop, but you know, damage is usually done by then. Charlie top.
Oh, it's a good spear now. The extra burst of Yatora. No, Charlie's going to get the chance to pop the ult. He's going to be able to run away for this one, or maybe not. The arena's down, trapping him to the side, but there's the relocate,
nice.
taking him back out to base. Misha will manage to start healing him up. Charlie actually not going to wait for the relocate back. He's going to TP back immediately so he can start to sort of push them back before the eyes in, make sure they're not set up for it. Over in the river, Supreme, he stepped across. Able to bring down Sobab pretty low. Trying to run in the cask, actually not bouncing as Misha able to pull himself in afterwards. Laguna comes out to Maposhka. Era comes in with the avalanche to finish him off. The Witch Doctor's down again. Collapse chasing for Supreme. Thunder God's Wrath in place, but Supreme turns with a light strike and again Misha. These tethers trying to save him. Doesn't matter. The Maledict's upon him and the damage is already done. So Yellow Submarine will get the kill onto Supreme. Nothing else. The rest of NIP able to make it out of there. And of course, as it all started, Charlie just surviving through that initial burst, and some great attempts and moves there from Misha to just try and keep his cause alive.
I cannot believe he actually saved the Ursa there. I thought at least one of the two were going to die on the initial go. Ends up still being, I mean, pretty even actually. Like Yellow Submarine, because they get that kill, ends up being fine because they get the big one on Supreme. And they still back up their Morphling, and he's still farming Triangle. And he gets an Iron Talon too on the Morphling. Really important thing to point out because he's going to be able to Ancient at a very fast pace. All things considered, yeah, I don't think that hurts Yellow Submarine too much. They're in a very comfortable spot still. Saberlight almost has the mech finished up. I think they wanted to be a little bit more ahead on the side of NIP though. From the way that, you know, Kyo was describing also the way the lanes would go. He thought 2 lanes would go dominant, but...
Does he want to commit the black hole for this? Yes, he does.
He does.
Straight up he goes. TPs are coming in, but nothing is going to be able to be done to save that Zeus. A black hole well spent for sure. As they take down the enemy mid, and now the space is there for them to start pushing pressure onto this mid-tier 1 tower.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Let's see if they move to defend. They collapse. It's going to be up to him if he wants to be the one to set up for that defense, having his ult up. And they'll actually just be able to hold them off anyway from the tower. Is he going for the Midas on the Morphling? It looks like he might. Looks like he is actually.
Up the money. I mean, yeah, with that sort of casual gloves of the haste, I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah. I mean,
just trying to maximize greed, I guess, this game because he's playing versus Enigma, and maybe he saw the Ursa items.
Yeah, I think that's probably got to be a big part of it because I think if that Ursa isn't going to Battle Fury, you don't see this perseverance. It could be a bit of a risk to go this greedy against NIP's lineup, but because that is the case with Charlie's item build. Now, I think you probably do get away with this Midas on Morph. It's going to pay off.
I think I'm okay with it as well. I think it's just fine. He just wants to keep up in levels, keep up in that farm when he's off the side too. Supreme.
Arena.
He gets
speared. Dropped down. They've got the Supernova as well. Misha's trying to come over to save him, but they've already got the kill. Supreme will fall. Misha stepping back. The Thunder God's Wrath comes out. They've killed off the IO as well. Neo's going to survive. He's able to run. The cask is out into the Maledict. Charlie's in trouble. He's already used the Enrage. Charlie's going to go down too. Big moves here from Yellow Submarine up top as collapse. He just drops down the arena, and we are going to see this happen many times. I feel this game that they have got that dominant team fight potential anytime they want to commit. Just arena, Supernova. It's very hard for NIP to fight into in this early stage.
Even with the cask bouncing through, the cask with arena is, you know, nothing to joke around. That cask is going to bounce a lot, and versus a hero like Ursa in Rage, those long duration disables are not as annoying, but a cask is like your worst nightmare if you're next to somebody. And we're seeing a little bit of lack of initiation on an NIP. Until they have Era's Blink Dagger, it's going to be a little bit hard for them to just walk in and start those fights. Like, if Supreme just walks in and yules the targets, he's just going to die every time, so...
Because that's probably the question I'd ask you as well. You know, we're seeing, you know, Yellow Submarine's read of the game, and Yatoro is saying, I'm going to go for this Midas because this Ursa's going for the Battle Fury. I mean, the question would be, do you like that Charlie's going for the Battle Fury this game, or do you think this sort of messes with the flow you wanted to see from NIP's draft?
God, I'm not too sure right now because I don't know what else you go on an Ursa.
Sure,
right?
you're not a fan of the hero at all.
Yeah, I think you might just have to go for Battle Fury, especially in this style of game, because I think if he doesn't, you get to a point where you just lose this game. I think Yellow Submarine can just play it like relatively passive, and they know they're going to win the late game. A little bit of a slowdown of farm here.
I mean, it's definitely sort of on Charlie and NIP to show what can be done with this hero right now, as you say. Because a lot of other teams just not interested in playing with the Ursa right now in this current state of the game. So we'll see what Charlie's able to do. Battle Fury progress. He's 1,100 gold away from it. Top lane. Looking for Misha. He is out with the tether, but the Thunder God's Wrath is back up. Another kill for Mio. He snipes him out with the ultimate. Yeah, it's just we're seeing the three heroes here from Yellow Submarine starting to take over in net worth. Only slightly, still very close across the board. So time's going to be needed to be bought really for NIP to just allow this Ursa to really kick into farm. Because I feel like the morph with the Midas, you know, it's, at least still you've got sort of your burst, right? It feels like you can do more as a morph with the lack of items compared to an Ursa running around with battle.
That was
going to need something on top of that. If they can do this, they've got him in the arena. Misha's tethered across. Heals up there. They control onto the two of them. So if they can bring him down with this Death Ward, Misha's pushed out to the side. The Supernova stun. It's not going to quite catch Supreme. NIP's able to step out. They're still burning down with the Sunray, but with the back of NIP, got to be careful. Yellow Submarine Era jumping in, looking for the control on Miposhka. Tosses him back into the hands of Charlie. Miposhka will fall. Still chasing here. Saberlight has the Black Hole of Veil of Fine opportunity. Still set up. So bad. And so bad he's out of spell usage as well. He's got a full wand. So he can try and run this through the trees, but he's going to have some incredible jukes to survive this. And
No way.
He actually has. Incredible jukes indeed. Straight into the trees. He is away.
That was
that was cute. That was very cute there by So Bad.
And
they're still scanning. They're still looking.
That was perfect juke. And it's
perfect juke.
It's so important. I was gonna say the whole time that they're chasing for NIP to get kills because that was all the ultis used. That's your timing to actually be able to trade versus Yellow Submarine, but you can't get too many actual.